12. But today I was thinking about, you know, doing leg day, Sharif. So, you know, we'll see what's going on with that.
I don't know,
yeah, no, I don't know.
There's only so much time at lunchtime because you still got to eat.
Yeah. You know, we got to be back here. We'll be back here for 2 o'clock. So shout out to everybody that's traded with us here today. You know, I think we went over a bunch of names.
A lot to cover. And remember,
lots of good talk.
We've heard from the president already. We're going to hear again at 1 o'clock. So hot number on inflation. We'll see what he has to say about it. I'm sure we'll hear a few Trump impressions from Sharif. And maybe Joey Options will find something to complain about. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. Right. Go get him, gentlemen.
Doing this. Not doing this.
Joey complaining. Boom! He's upset. Greetings and salutations. Beautiful people, welcome to the Midday Show. That right there.
Don't say it. Yeah, that's what you get. Boom! That's what you get. That right here is your boy Joey Austin's. That is Sharif the Heat. My guy over here.
It picked me up. All right, Joey. I see you there. All right, guys, let's shout out everybody, man. We got a trade breaking out here on TRIB, but we got to do this, baby. Shout out to Jay Haas, ATX, Monty G. We got SFG Fan, Slobo Dan, Mr. Easy Street, and Mr. Leahy. Shout out to May Reyes and Yannick, Other Zinc, the OG, Maximus, Mark Susi in the house. Shout out to Gabby McGibson and Tarek. Shout out to the other OG, Gorev, Parabolic FOMO, always love the name. Notorious Dingleberg's in the house. Cosmic Connections 77, his head's in the stars, Joey. We got J-Clip 80, we got Buffalo Soldier's son, Go Birds, Joe Sevilla, we got Sun O. Yeah. All right. After Star, keep going. Corleone Family 1. I love that one. Shout out to Day Trader Cut and Sun Gilor. I'm sorry, I butchered that. City Boy 305 coming hot from MIA. Speaking of MIA, MIAX. IPO, Miami Exchange. We'll be getting to that momentarily, Joey. Shout out to Hungry Wife, Hangry Wife. Ooh. And one more here. A11Y Guru, new name for me.
My favorite name in the chat now is Mr. Leahy.
Mr. Leahy?
Do you know who Mr. Leahy is?
I do not. Tell me.
It is the trailer park supervisor in Trailer Park Boys. No way.
That's crazy.
A while ago? No way. Leahy, man. What a classic that guy is. Anyways, guys, yeah, we love Mr. Leahy. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. Probably the best Canadian TV show of all time. I know that
Adara comes in with an opinion immediately, bro.
We know that. We know it is.
Of course she does,
We know it is. Just a little drinky poo.
Adara's very opinionated, as we know. So.
There's no better Canadian TV show than that one. Anyways, guys, all fun and games. I hope everyone's having a solid day. It's been a struggle. There's no doubt about that. Slightly bearish bias this morning, just looking for the price action, but that's okay. We're not down too much at all. So again, that's why we just stick to our stops. We get out when we're supposed to. We try the short right here one time, boom, nope, and then I try it again, and then sure enough, I just have to go to my game plan. I go and I look, and I'm like, what are the MAG up to? Microsoft's ripping, Meta's ripping, putting in a new higher day, and NVDA is. So I'm like, my chances are not in my favor right here. So we'll hop out. I'm glad Katina Man got something out of that one there. But for me, we got to be patient to see if we can get anything else working up. So that was 0 for 2 on TQs, and then I bid as well, just a little break-even trade. It came back against me, and I just never hopped back in. Ethereum's looking kind of pretty good, or it's kind of attractive right now, I should say. We're going to wait for a VWAP hold, but it rebounded. The whole market's rebounded today, and I wasn't really expecting that, Sharif.
Okay. All right. We're going to go to Darren in 1 second, but I'm keeping my eye on TRIB. Guys, if you're into these small caps, the Katina Man called it out earlier on his show. It's the TRIB show right now. It's 211%. It's going. We'll see if it's gone. Let's see if we can get somewhere along the lines of the other one that was running a zillion percent yesterday. I forget the name of it. Get it, Katina Man. The Katina Man is finally in the money there on that short, and the Qs. We're going to pump him up, but we're going to send it to Adara here as we watch Trib drop down.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know here, I finally was able to get some more details on this TTD Walmart story in case you guys missed it. There's a report from The Information, which is, in case you guys did not know, very much backed by a very hard to breach paywall. And The Information, the headline was saying that Walmart is backing away from the trade desk. So now finally I have a little bit more information. Some people have posted more about this story. So apparently it sounds like Walmart is loosening its 4-year exclusivity deal with the trade desk. That just basically now allows advertisers to use tools from competitors to trade desk. That's the detail there with regards to TTD and WMT. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Derek. Joey, let me just cover this for a second. Here we go.
Absolutely.
TRIB coming back in. It's a 335 high. We're at 25s, 24, 25, 28. Here we go. Here comes 30. There it goes into another high of the day. It's a 344 spike, but it spent all of 1 microsecond there, and it comes back down. So if I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times. Use these resting orders at key levels because these things, they barely spend any time there unless you're Superman with these hotkeys. You're not going to get the fill, so just throw those resting orders out there and see what gets filled. So we're doing it live right now, Joey. We've been adding, extracting on TRIB. The last little entry there was I was holding some from 277, scalped up into 3. It decisively broke 3, but true to form with TRIB, it spends almost no time in any one area. So I wasn't even able to add into the 3 single digits. I got slipped up to 15s, and then we scalped up into 33. We're not actually holding a piece at the moment. We're all done this trade, but I'll be looking to get back in anywhere around $3. It's a TRIB show, baby, and we're just here happy to be part of it. Neil, did you get my message? Ian Rispetto sent you a super chat that I think you might like there. I liked it, certainly. It was in our chat, that's why. Joey, what do you got?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a good question in the chat here from Iggy Sosa. What's going on? Joseph Sharif, any tips on self-imposed daily stop limits for the account? Yeah, I mean, with your broker and your platform, you can implement those. So essentially, you contact your broker, or you can find through the account management, you can set a percentage loss, right? So you're only allowing yourself to lose 2-3% a day, whatever that may be. And then also with your platform as well, they'll allow you to set stops. So once you lose X amount of money, you're done for the day. And that's what I did. And I think, you know what, I'll give credit to it. It sucks, but at the end of the day, it teaches you the rules and the lessons that you need to learn, and just learn a lot about accuracy and everything. I'm comfortable with setting stop loss on single positions, but having a hard time on setting them on the overall account. And then that's when you contact your broker, right? So you just contact your broker, or you go onto your platform and you say, hey, I'm only allowing myself to lose $200 a day, 2% of my position a day, and then you just leave that. And one thing to know is, because one thing that I caught myself doing on my old platform is that I would have my stop loss in, but then I gave myself the ability to change it, so I would just continuously do it, and that's what led me to losing 3 months of gains in a matter of a week. But then after that, I learned my lesson. I've walked around my building and been scratching my head and kicking dirt, essentially. But at the end of the day, you switch that up. Your broker will be like, okay, yeah, if you do want to change your risk limit, it's going to take 24 hours. So essentially, it just stops you out from hulking and getting too tilted and just blowing up more. As I mentioned before, 3 months. I remember, I think I was about 1.5 years in, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really getting the gist of things. Oh yeah, you're having a bad day.
Been there.
Boom. Oh, you're having another bad day. Boom. Oh, you're having a bad day. Boom. All gone.
Been
and
there.
the next thing you know, you're like, oh my days, and you're like stressing over the weekend. So just implement those within your broker, and sure enough, you're on the right path, because risk measures are everything. And I talked to Sharif about calculated fixed risk as well too. So you can have certain hotkeys, certain platforms that allow you to only risk X amount. And then that also coincides with what you have on your overall platform as well too. So make sure you have those. That is the key to longevity, especially in your earlier days of trading. You need to get that practice down pat, because now I personally don't even use hard stops, but wait, I practiced with hard stops for years before I started taking those off of the table, and I've taken loss after loss, and I've followed my stops, maybe a handful, not followed my stops, maybe a couple of times, and then I promised myself that I would never do it again, because the feeling of going against you and losing big money is worse than just stopping out when you're supposed to, and I didn't like feeling like that. So as long as you learn your lessons, you're on the right path.
Well said, man. And like, I don't mean to clap for you losing money. That's obviously not not what I was doing that for.
Right, no.
But the sentiment and the lessons that you're passing on, man, are absolutely.
It's fundamental to trading.
Agreed. I was just gonna say agreed, and I think like hard mental stops are just as valid as hard physical stops, because you know sometimes things can wick you out, and you have to use your own discretion. So.
And if you know you have, Adira, like the discipline to follow the stops, you don't have to put hard stops out there. If you know I'm gonna mechanically follow it every single time, do it, man.
Exactly. And let's take a look at it here. This is essentially what it is, right? So this is me just sticking to my risk. That's all it is. It's that simple. You can have trades that look fantastic, but guess what? You can have your losers and your stop outs look just as good too, right? Because it's like, oh, hey, look, I stuck to this. And then it allows you to stay in the game significantly longer. It's like, okay, the first half of the session, you sucked. You took your 2-3 stop outs, whatever it is, and then later in the session, you have that A++, and you're still in the game, and then you have the ability to hammer that and then eliminate all of those losses. And that's what you hear Neil saying. Neil can be like, I go 1 for 4 and I'm still positive.
Absolutely.
Why? Because on those 3 losses, on those 4 losses, he just stuck to his stop, giving himself the ability to stay in the game. And that's what you want to do essentially. You're going to have those days where you get stopped out and you're going to hit those max risks. That's those max losses. That's inevitable, right? But you can also mitigate that as well too. So just stick to those rules, and sure enough, you're going in the right direction. As for trading right now, guys, I don't see anything overly attractive, and that's why I'm being patient. All right, so I've traded TQQs, and I also took one more trade. Sorry, Sharif, before I send it back to you, RDTI. Yeah. I took one more on RGTI, and that's it. We stuck to the stop on this one. It wasn't on my primary watch list, considering in the latter half of yesterday's session, it just decided to go in its own realm and just continue to climb higher and higher. Today, I'm like, all right, let's see if we get a jump out of the open. I didn't get it, stuck to my stop loss at VWAP, and sure enough, I got plenty of risk throughout the day to sit here on my hands, and when that A+ setup shows up, guess what? You know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to get in that trade, and then I'm going to add like a madman once the thesis starts working out.
I love it, man. I love the energy. Absolutely agree with everything you said there, Joey. Shout out to you, my man. All right, here, we're in a couple of trades. Let's get to them. CGTX. So I'm going to get back to Trib in a second. I'm just letting it calm down, and as I let it calm down, it's rocketing up. Okay, so all right. So we'll have to refocus here on Trib for the moment, as this thing, it looks like it's destined to really keep going here. Back above $3 it goes. It's really strong, and it looks like it's ready to break out again, even though it's a 344 high. Let's get some in here, and then I'll be looking to defend into 3 as well. So we'll post up some right there. We got 17s on. Let's post into 24s, and we'll post a little bit higher into 28s. I think it popped up there momentarily into 24s. Didn't quite get the fill yet, so we'll wait for something around there, and then I'll give it all the way down here for this mini share. So let's leave that one alone. CGTX, much slower. I just like this one because it has my initials. No, I'm kidding. No, Deere. It does have my initials, but that's not the reason I like it. But yeah, no, it's holding up at the 10 EMA on the 5. So I'm looking for a hold of this area and a move back up. It is kind of slow. I've got a couple of beak wetters there, as you can see, into 64, but this one did pop into 67. That's the high of the day. Don't have anything there. Now this one, XPON, sorry, that's SLDP. XPON is a VWAP retracement, and really nothing more than that. It's going to have to hold this general area. I've put my stop in the 80s. But I'm looking for it to hold at the volume weighted average price, which is a little bit lower, about 12 pennies lower than that $4 area. Yeah, $4 area. So you got VWAP at around 388, give or take. So got a couple of beak wetters. It's a very convoluted chart there, as my entries were very close together, so it's hard to see. But trust me, bro, we've got a few entries there and one exit, a couple of exits. Anything in the low 80s, we get stopped out. So that's my look. CGTX coming back into the 10 EMA, so pack our patience there. And TRIB's got a seller for whatever reason here in the high teens, 18, 19. Can't seem to shake him, but I do have a dip trade to defend that $3 area, and here it comes. Comes right into it, doesn't fill, of course. Let's watch as a buyer at 5, preventing the fill from going. So just watching to see if I can get the fill here on TRIB, or whether or not it rockets back up without me. It does look like it's moving back into the mid-teens here, having not filled me. But the seller now is at 17s, not 18s. So we pop up, but we pop up 1 penny lower than the prior area. So that's something you need to keep an eye out for. If the short sellers or the profit takers are taking profit or getting short, at lower and lower levels on every successive move up, right? If you were selling at 18s before, now you're selling at 17s, and the time after that, it's 16s. Be on the lookout for that. All right, so we got filled here. Let's see if we defend the 10 EMA. The 10 EMA, Joey, at around 285.
Absolutely. All right, we got a good question in the chat. Any exit strategy on bullish? 50 shares at 109.14. I am down $1,400. Please help. See, that's never fun, right? So this is kind of just perfect segue into what we were about to talk about, or so what we were previously talking about, and just sticking to those stops. 109.17, I don't know if it's going to go back there for your sake. I truly do. But you got to be careful with these IPOs, right? Like, you got to stick to that stop, because look, you have 1 day of data. You're on your second day right here as well too. So just keep that in mind, guys. Exit strategy, you just got to write something, not like an option or anything. You just got to write down your game plan, and then at the end of the day, you got to stick to it. If you lose any more, I don't know how much of a percentage metric that is of your account, but you got to get that down, and you got to be like, hey, okay, I messed up. Now, how do we fix this, right? Okay, so I'm wrong at 68. I'm going to get all out of this position, or you're going to hold it, or as a matter of fact, just accept your loss, right? So I don't like hearing that, and I don't like seeing that, but that's why stop losses are extremely important. Don't be moving and don't be trading off of hopium, because that's just a recipe for disaster at the end of the day. So there's not much I can really tell you. I'm not going to start telling you to write options on it, because matter of fact, you don't have that many shares, and I don't even know if it's optionable just yet. We can obviously figure that out. But for you, 109, that's quite a ways away. You got to think about an exit plan, and where you think like, hey, I'm not going to lose any more on this, regardless of what happens. Chances are of you hopping out of the trade and then it moving higher are pretty high. Are there, right? So that's what happens all the time. It's like, okay, I get stopped out, and then sure enough, it goes in your favor. But you also didn't give yourself the ability to DCA if you're swing trading. Intraday, I don't DCA in. That's not part of my style. I'll average up, right, as Neil mentioned. That's Sharif's style. Sharif has his DCAs, but they're planned. Now you need to have a plan on what you're going to do with this one. And if you've used all your capital, you're not going to have the ability to dollar cost average into this trade to hopefully rebound and recover some of those unrealized losses. Adair, what do you got for us?
Just keep an eye here on Eli Lilly. I was seeing some people in the chat mention this one, so I looked into it. Really strong push up today. Financial Times reporting this morning that the company is apparently going to be hiking its UK prices for its Mounjaro weight loss drug by up to 170%. So weight loss drug price hike reported by the Financial Times. Great look for LLY. This one is still at high of day. And yet the chat, again, bringing this one up here. Back to you.
Thing here, Sharif. Yeah, let's take a look at Palantir. Someone's saying call wall at Can you look at Palantir? Looks like a call wall at 185. Absolutely. Let's take a look at that one. Option chain. Let's pull up Palantir. Let's see what that's. Oh my days. Okay, we're gonna get back to this here momentarily, because we've been talking about it all week. 185 call wall. Yeah, 31,500 contracts. Concentration through 185 to 190. 45,800 between those couple strikes price, 85 to 190. So you can see the congestion right here, guys. So be careful. This might be a little bit of toppy price action, but this is what I was just getting all giddy about right here, Sharif. Okay. With NVDA. Look at this size, guys. Earlier in the week, we seen this at 111. Right, 111,000 open contracts now being built up to 162,000 open contracts at that 185 strike. And you can see on the past couple of sessions, we run into 184 and then we start rejecting. And today we don't even have the ability to get up there. It looks like we've topped out around 183. We can continue this the northeast trajectory. There's no questioning that. But at the end of the day, we got to listen to what the chain is telling us, because it's a really, really beautiful inside luck on that one. So Palantir concentration between 185, 190, and then you can see the concentration with the exact same strikes here on NVDA 185, 190 with a lot of open contracts.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. All right, here we go, Joey. I know. Well, he's got a lot of money, Adair. I mean, he is a billionaire. Get it, Donald. Dance on him, Donald.
And I'm pretty sure Trump coin added like another 100 million to, or 300 million to his net worth. Buy it.
I got a lot of money.
Yeah, buy it.
He's got a lot of money. Yeah, I get him, Assassino. Yes, all right, we're having a good time. Here's the deal. Xpawn, not X-Pac, but Xpawn. We're break even on it. I don't know how I feel about this trade, man. How long are we going to hold at VWAP here? But I don't think this is the right thing for me to get out, or is it? No, it's holding VWAP, but it's got lower highs. I'm looking at the 5-second chart on my top screen. It's at VWAP. That's the thing. You know, you always want to get that great price, and here you are at that great price, but it's not rocketing up, and you don't really want to hold it. So I'm just going to pack my patience on this one, okay? Now, CGTX, we're doing well on this one. Right before I get to TRIB, I want to show you what TGTX is doing. It did breach momentarily the 10 EMA on the 5, but it is working its way up. We got a good position on this one. Very, very happy with how I traded TRIB, okay? I was quite aggressive. I was adding big shares here on the dips, and I was catching bottoms. So I don't always get it right like this. I really don't. But when you get it right like this, you feel good about yourself. And I didn't let this one off the hook. Every time it dipped down, I added aggressively, and then we scalped out as aggressively. So the chart is littered there with triangles as a result of this kind of trade right now. So we'll look to see if this one wants to work back down into 2.5. I see 2.5 as the next area, of support. So you have the volume weighted average price and 2.5 overlapping. And I love that. Those are two key things that I look at. Obviously, the $0.50 being an important area of psychological support and resistance, as well as VWAP. VWAP's a technical support and resistance area. And then, in addition to all that, you have price action support and resistance, given this area crest over here weaseled up to 250. So it's a triple whammy. So, you know, you never really know whether these going to come out on your side or not. But here's what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out at 55s. So I'm putting a dip trade on this bad boy over here. Hello, computer. 255, please. Thank you. Like, Joey, I don't understand. What's happening?
What's going on?
It doesn't understand. It doesn't know that I want to punch in. Here, 255. Oh, that's a it was a sell order, Joey. It was a sell order. My mistake. All right, so we're putting the buy order there. And now that it's dipped in, it won't fill us anyway. Mistake on me. Adair's got breaking news at the big desk.
I did. I have still the Lilly chart up because we talked about this one earlier. Lilly's still pretty strong here. But keep an eye on these pharma names in general because we have commentary coming from Peter Navarro, who is Trump's trade advisor. He's saying that these pharma tariffs that we know the Trump administration is very much looking forward to imposing at some point will likely be under Section 232. So Section 232, what he's referring to there is the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. Section 232 of that act basically allows the U.S. president to restrict imports that threaten national security. So I guess they're going to try to make the argument that pharmacy imports are threatening national security. Keep an eye here on these pharma tariffs. As you can see, Eli Lilly chopping around a bit here. You could take a look at PFE, mRNA, Regeneron there, REGN, etc. Lots of different tickers to look at in this space. Back to you.
Much for that, Adara.
Yeah.
Just quickly here, Joey.
Absolutely.
So this one does come down into 59. I had my order at 55s. I got my order late. In case you didn't notice, I fumbled and then fumbled. And then after I fumbled, I decided it was a great time to fumble again, Adara.
Ooh.
All right, no, I'm actually teasing myself, so it's all good there. No, but Assassino, I love the sound effects, man. This guy's on point. No, seriously though, so it does come back into 59, so test that $0.50, rockets back up into 90, and now it's doing the dance with absolutely no underwear or pants at the 10 EMA on the 5. So we'll see if this one wants to hold up, change trend. Now that I've missed my dip trade, I got to look for a reigniting of a trend to the upside. So that's my move. While I tell you about that, let me also tell you about this one. We gave back a little bit here on this piece of crap, XPON. It lost VWAP. You know, you never really know how these trades are going to go. And this is what I was seeing on the side chart, which kept me kind of interested in this one. XPON was hugging the volume weighted average price quite well. And then, you know, you never really know whether it's going to find support or break down below find resistance or break down below support, so it ends up breaking down. We get stopped out, we give a little back, but thankfully we did de-risk by scalping little, 10 penny winners here along the way. but it'll still be a negative one for me. This one is positive. CGTX, we got a nice position into this one. It's not a big mover, but we don't really need it to be a big mover, especially if we get the right prices at technical areas. Joey, show them what you got, baby.
Yeah, for sure. This guy, man. If
Oh my, the final boss of Ibiza?
The final boss.
Yes, man.
Jokes,
you know that's a wig, right? He took it off, Joey. Yes.
Apparently this is a popular haircut in England. I don't know, man.
Okay, so
This guy.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so I'm going to have to tell you off camera, right?
Yeah.
But yes, it is.
It's like a legit haircut.
So there's a player on Chelsea called Cole Palmer.
Yeah,
He's got something similar. Something similar.
This guy, the final
boss of Ibiza.
Yeah, that guy is hilarious, man. When I see all those memes,
you see the video of him dancing?
Yeah, he's just like,
and he's got like the turkey, the turkey. What are they called? Veneers, because they're like so white.
What's
right?
up with that? Yeah,
Get it?
It's a funny trend, man.
I like it.
Oh wow, the market's really starting to come back in here. That guy is jokes, for sure.
Fat Figure's like, what's happening?
Yeah, that guy.
Fat Figure, you know what goes on the midday, man.
Yeah,
You're not new to this game.
Yeah, and I told you, I'm sitting on my hands right now. I don't see anything A++, so gonna be patient on this. But here it is, right? Like, so this is why you kind of just stick to the thesis. But I didn't see anything that signaled, hey, Joe, time to get involved. And then as you punch through the volume-weighted average price, look at the volume profile on the lower interval, 1 minute time frame, right? So just keep that in mind here, guys. Starting to pick up steam and velocity to the downside. Wait for a pullback, and then maybe we can get involved with that move. And I think low of the day, pre-market low as well, is definitely in the works, especially with this volume starting to pick up. So keep an eye out on that one. Ethereum's really tanking. NVDA is really moving fast to the downside. I don't even know if that's an actual term, but anyways, there it is, guys. Volume picking up here as well too. So just keep an eye out on this genuine bullish candle, and then there goes the Qs heading right towards that PPI print low. We're not there just yet, but I think by the end of the day, I would not be surprised if we reach that area there. So keep that in mind and wait for pullbacks and retests of key support levels and resistance. So this was prior support. Now you're going to wait for a retest of that neckline. The exact same thing going on with the Qs here, guys. Picking up velocity, and sure enough, we want to wait for a retest of this neckline, and then maybe we can get that move towards the low of the day. But a nice hammer candle right here in the pre-market low, boom, 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 boom. And if you get involved in that, then you get this nice move past some of these resistance zones, but sure enough, picking up steam. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's it. Sorry, brother.
Who is it, Joey?
You gotta go on. I'm kind, right? I told you guys. I'm kind, right? So you get. I'm really kind. You get 10 minutes. All right. So that's it.
I would have blocked him.
Oh, did I just? Oh, there he goes. Boom.
There you go.
Just like that. See, I'm kind. Sharif would have blocked you. I'm kind. So do not take my kindness for weakness, because I will then remove you from the thing, and I will tell you, do not add this individual back. But here it is, guys. Q's putting in a nice hammer candle. He's on fire these days. So there it is. Let's see if we can get this to close as a hammer. Maybe we can get a bounce back towards this high of the day, or we're just going to continue to the south side. Both of them totally in the works. Indecision at VWAP on Ethereum, 5-minute time frame, that is. Maybe we get involved in that one.
All right. Shout out to Whitney. Let me just get your name right there, Whitney. Whitney Patterson, 8711. Question by her was as follows. Can you give your thoughts on Reddit? Trying to understand if it will continue to rise based on the Google news, but it just keeps running. Here's the 5-minute look, Whitney, on Reddit, which takes us all the way back to the 7th. And as you can see, we've got a nice little uptrend here, at least locally. Let's just zoom out a little bit more, get a feel for that uptrend. Oh, baby. I'm assuming it reported earnings on July 31st, because since that time, thank you, Adara. Eidetic memory comes in, it comes handy every day, being on the floor here with Adara. So here's the deal. You get that big move up the 31st of July, and it doesn't stop. It's not as parabolic, but look at those higher lows and higher highs. This is your classical upward channel. And it's actually respecting resistance and support areas. So from a wider time frame, Whitney, the answer to your question almost certainly is yes. For the moment, anything can change. Even the downturn today on the market in the morning didn't seem to put a damper on Reddit. It did drop momentarily. But look at that, Whitney. It held that support level. Funny how that works, huh? And then the bell rings at 9:30, and then all hell breaks loose to the high side. So what I see here is, that classical bull flag. It doesn't mean you're going to get a second bull flag, right? Because you could just get one bull flag on the day and then consolidate into the close above the volume weighted average price, which is what it's doing. So that 240 level, which is the $10 area, a psychological area of resistance or support, depending if you're coming from the north or the south side, but it's already finding support, and it's got that volume weighted average price to kind of support it. So if it holds 240, fantastic, but I personally would not be looking for a rocket up above that 245 high. You've got a double top here at 244.85, so essentially 245. I'm not saying it won't break 245, but don't be looking for that classical bull flag continuation like we get on the small cap gappers. Doesn't have to be that way on Reddit. Again, can just bull flag and then consolidate into the close, open up higher tomorrow, and then do something like this, which is basically, you know, kind of the manifestation of a daily bull flag consolidation. So let me know how it goes. I think this is a hell of a stock. I think they have so many tailwinds. You know, maybe a lot of that was already priced in, right? But I do like how they're selling their data for these LLMs, whether you like that or not, because maybe you're posting on there and you don't want your data to be part of the pre-training. But from a monetary side, as an investor, you like it. So we got to go to Dara. She's got crypto segment.
I do, and actually due to just the sheer amount of crypto-related news, it's going to be a little bit longer. We're going to talk about a couple different stories. Hopefully you guys are ready to talk some crypto here. Let's talk about Google. Yesterday, they actually had a little bit of a catalyst. It came out around 2:30. We had a report initially reported by The Rage, but then it looks like later confirmed by Google itself that it seemed like they were going to be banning these non-custodial wallets from their Google Play Store in a handful of countries. Now, Google came out and said that they clarified the policy, saying that apparently the wallets are just not in the scope of Google Play's cryptocurrency exchanges and software wallets policies. So kind of clarifying the policy, but not really quelling the fears of or I guess the dislike from people in the crypto community. Jack Dorsey of Square actually came out and called the policy, quote unquote, terrible in the next post. So regardless of what Google had to say, people in the crypto world were not a fan of this non-custodial wallet policy on their Google Play Store. Now let's talk about Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin, a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle, if you will, here. We have this new all-time high today, above 124,500. Now today, the low of day, though, at that 118,000 levels. So lots of very volatile movement here in Bitcoin. The market as well, though, pushing a little bit lower. For those wondering about news, I don't have any specific news, but Peter Navarro did speak on CNBC, which some superstitions show that he does tend to send the market down when he talks. But with regards to crypto specifically, this all-time high touch still shows there's a lot of bullishness and excitement in the market. And speaking of bullish, that IPO yesterday, as Neil and I were discussing in the market recap yesterday, well, you wouldn't necessarily view it as a stunning success from a day trading perspective. It certainly was from the perspective of people who purchased it at the $37 IPO price. As discussed this morning as well, it actually minted new billionaires in terms of the founders of the company, right? So bullish IPOs still does show that there's hope for some of these other IPOs that could step into the space. We know Gemini, which of course was the Winklevoss twins company, apparently they've confidentially filed for an IPO as well. So more crypto IPOs could certainly be on the horizon. Back to you.
Dara.
Absolutely. All right, yeah, so we're involved in some Ethereum here, guys. A nice indecision print on the TQs as well. That hammer is kind of across the board in a lot of these big names, so that's positive. But if it does break it to the downside, just be cautious of what can happen. Once you break those indecision prints, you tend to trade a little bit lower. He was frustrated, so I gave him a tip. Oh, yeah, good tip. Yeah, exactly. If you're mad, just go eat a bagel, and you'll be all right, right? That's what your boy does, so comfort food. Yeah, hey man, it is what it is, right? So, just go.
This guy does love his bagels, by the way.
I like a bagel, man. You know what? I'll be honest, man. So when I was in high school or younger, before I could drive, my grandfather would drive me every morning to Tim Hortons, and I would get a bottle of peach juice and an everything bagel toasted with butter.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just kind of just been about.
I got something for you here.
Yeah. So I've always liked my my bagel. So
is that right?
For that. And what I used to do is I would stash my peach juice bottle in my locker, and then I just had a full locker for a year dedicated to my Tim Hortons peach juices. And then I would open it, and they would just all funnel out and go crazy.
So the Chilean Nightmare wants me to ask you, is it seagull or saggle?
What does that mean?
I don't know.
that me with my thing?
That's what I was told.
Yes.
There's another Joey options one here, Neil. And Neil, I'm just echoing what your buddy there.
Yeah, we're eating
There he is. And he's dang proud of it too. He's like, yeah, take a picture.
Yeah, we eating that stuff.
That's Subway, by the way. That was you.
Was that me in the subway?
Yeah,
Oh,
scarfing down the subway.
Let's go, man. That was the day when we didn't have any catering.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
I
so we
think
had to get a little something, right? Because you don't want to be trading hangry. You just see those nerves get touched significantly easier. But as for Ethereum, it looking like it wants to suck today. That's okay. It's been on an absolute monster run, and I'm gonna get stopped out here momentarily. So yeah, it sucks to suck sometimes, but that's okay. At the end of the day, we'll just be patient, wait for some other trades. I was looking at Bitcoin to hold some key support levels as well too. Doesn't necessarily look to be the case right now, but we'll be patient until it snaps the lower end of this candle, and then we open up below it. I'm still gonna be in this trade, but once again, I don't want to hold it too much against me, because then if I do, then look where I need to the price to actually trade to until I'm actually break even, right? So that's not what we want to do. That's why we have specific tight stops. But it's unfortunate that Bitcoin hit 124,500 last night and then instantly sold off right away sold
straight
off.
to jail.
Straight to jail. And it's like, we're going to go back down to 118, 119. And that's just like, wait, why, Appa? Come on, Appa. As my old boss used to say to me, Joe, Appa. And just like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Just a kid. But anyways, yeah, so that's what we got going on, guys. Having fun. By the way, I'm in Chicago Friday, tomorrow, and until Monday. So you know when vacation mode kind of kicks in a little bit early, and you're just like,
you guys taking bear vacations. I haven't even been on vacation in over a year and a half, bro.
Brother,
a year and a half. April 2024.
You gotta use the days, man. You gotta use the days.
You don't think I want to use the days?
You can.
I want to. I will.
So I know the boys trip as well too. I got some good suggestions for you guys.
Get it, Adara.
Are you considering visiting the Gorillas again? Because I know that was April 2024. So
I know it was, and that was my last vacation, Adara.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like your next trip, would you want to do something similar?
I'm gonna go to Egypt in October to do service in the south, where a lot of needy families are. So that's what I'm doing. My sister does it every year, so I'm gonna weasel on over with her.
October? This October?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta approve those days.
Don't get me started. Brendo's like, I want October off, and I can't take time off if Brendo's taking time off because of the desk.
That by me first. Bro.
Wow, this guy. You listening to your boy over here, Neil? He's getting a lot of.
I think he agrees with you. Not only me, you gotta pass it by Neil too. So there's a bunch of hands that has to go through,
bro.
Before that gets approved. And you know what? Hit the fail right now because I'm going to hit the no. You can't go, my friend.
I'm going, bro. I'm going.
There you go.
I'm bringing you back some pyramids, too.
Please, some. Yeah, we'll get that going for sure.
Not a real pyramid, of course.
Well, bring some chocolate, too, if you don't mind. I heard
well, yeah, your friend Ram there was supposed to bring back Dubai chocolates when she weaseled on over to Saudi. She didn't bring anything. She brought chocolates. They were not Dubai chocolates.
Oh, but
Dubai chocolates got the pistachio in the middle, man. The pistachio
I like those because the caramel-filled ones definitely mine.
They were good, but they're not Dubai chocolates. Don't be fronting and trying to sell those things as Dubai chocolates because I ain't gonna have it. Right?
Okay, let's go with Ethereum. We're right back into it. Another indecision print on IBIT. We love this 5-minute. I love how we can just switch. We'll talk about whatever, and then it's like boom, right back into this market. But here we go, guys. Multiple hammer candles at these key support levels. Can we get a potential bounce? I'm going to be keeping my eye out on it. And I mentioned before, if we snap this, watch out. We might see some more potential downside.
Well said, Joey. All right, I'm working into Wolf speed over here. It's going to have to hold this general 70 penny area. I've given it a little bit of room. So I see prior area of resistance right here, right? That double top into 770. We weasel on up all the way up to 812 high. We break down. We're below the 10, the 20, but we are at this price action support. So let's see if it ends up holding up here. What do we got on? We got 79, so we're 8 pennies out of the money right now on, I'm not going to call it my friend Wolf yet, okay? Because we'll see if it ends up being my friend. This one certainly is. I had a good feeling about this one. The second I saw my initials in the ticker, I'm like, I'm going long. No, I'm kidding. That's I'm not that delusional, guys. All right, so we just took a beak wetter there at 79, so now we're going to post at 71, and then we're going to post at 73s as well. We're going to look to wet the beak every couple of shekels there. Shout out to our very good friend Nimrod. I don't know if you're in the chat, my man, but the shekels remind me of you, and he did give Joseph and I shekels, and we were supposed to have them here on the desk. And, you know, we kind of promised him that every time we said the word shekels, we'd kind of show the shekel there. But I know Joe, I got mine in my bag. I'm going to take him out. There you go. What is that, the 2 or the single?
So a single.
That's a single right there. All right.
So what is this, like the Canadian penny almost, essentially?
Yeah, it's not even that far off. So like a shekel is like 40 pennies, which is kind of like less than half. But
we'll take
for Middle Eastern currency, it's quite good, to be honest with you. Yeah.
We'll take it.
All right, so we're doing it live right now on CGTX. We're also holding Wolf Speed over here, looking for this one to bounce up. It's coming back into 77 Zadera. What's up? What do you got?
I have more commentary from Peter Navarro. He's talking about pharma tariffs still. He's saying that these pharma tariff rates are still being worked on, but that the majority of the tariffs in the pharma space will target generic pharmaceutical products. Keep an eye. I just have Eli Lilly up here, but you can keep an eye on any of these pharmaceutical names with this story in mind, guys. Back to you.
I see you, Ahmed. I see you. He's like, come to Egypt, Habibi. I'm coming in October, bro. Don't worry about me. I'm coming, Ahmed. Shout out to you, my man. And in case you're wondering, I'm not saying Ahmad. It's not said that way. It's Ahmed. Just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there, Joey. I'm not blaming anybody. But there we go. All right, Wolf Speed. Pumping back up into the mid-80s. We wet the beak there quickly at 82s. Let's see if this one's got the juice to break into the 90s, Joey. I'm packing my patience, baby.
Absolutely. So we're in both crypto names. I don't know how great of an idea that is, but hey, you got to take those shots, shoot or shoot, right? So this is what we got going on. We are constructing lower highs, so that's unfortunate. But I do like these indecision prints on IBIT here, right off of those lows, hammer 1, hammer 2, base. We have our support level established. It cracks the low, then we're just out of dodge on that one. So I'm in around, what is my average on IBIT? 67.09, and I'm literally giving it to 85s, all right? So just about 20 cents, a little bit less than that on that risk. And then the same thing with Ethereum. If it wants to get rolling, maybe we get buyers to step right back in. But VWAP is going to be the primary target on IBIT, and we are at VWAP on Ethereum. So I like the Bitcoin trade potentially a little bit more than the Ethereum, so I have no issues with hopping out and then finding something else and then potentially adding to that Bitcoin trade just in case that it does want to make a run towards that high. For me personally, it's just like, okay, why are we going to do that and then just like immediately reject it? Me looking for the retest of that 124,000. Maybe we get that. Are we going to get that today? But over the weekend, you say yes?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. But anyways, this is what I was. I knew you. I seen it. I knew you sly dog. I knew you. That's what you're gonna do.
I love this guy, bro. I love this guy, man.
I knew that's what you were getting at.
So joke.
No, but in all seriousness, we like this. I think over the weekend we might get that retest. To be honest with you, even so, what I was also thinking as well too, Sharif, because we know that with the chance of the September rate cut are almost inevitable. So it's like, okay, a little bit of selling, you get that cut, you get it come in, and then boom, sure enough, you start to skyrocket in the crypto space. I could be totally wrong, and the opposite can happen, and then I'm going to be sitting here looking like a dummy, essentially. But that's what I got. That's my game plan, and I think that's what a good chance and a good scenario of happening for sure.
All right, man. All right, I want to cover a couple of things. First of all, this is not Wolf Speed. This is TerraWolf. My mistake. Thank you, chat, for fact-checking me and correcting me. I do apologize. Shouldn't have, just guessed. WULF is, I know, TerraWolf. WOLF is Wolf Speed. My mistake. That's on me. All right. So that's first order of business. Second order of business, I'm going to get to that super chat by BJO 9000 in a second, but I got to let you know about dogs. This one is absolutely breaking out. Look at that flat top break through 12.5. And Joey, we talk about 12.5. We talk about flat top breaks, but we don't always say a dollar move on a $12 stop, $12 stock, for flat top break. And that's exactly what you got here. Flat top through 12.5. The high of the day, 13.53, and it's currently trading at 47s, but it is quite spready, as you just saw it drop from 47 into 13 in one move. Yeah, I know. Look, they're not dollar moves, Adara, but when you're sizing in, a zillion shares on a $13 name, it can get kind of ugly. So DOGZ, sorry, Americans. This one is breaking out. It's up 26% at the day's highs, but be careful with it. I kind of mentioned that already, spready and volatile. CGTX coming back down into not even close, into my area over here. What do I got on? A 55s coming down into 65s. We'll maybe look to add if it comes into the 10 EMA again. So BJ09 something NOK. Is that, what is that? Is that NOK? Is that? Let's go. NOK
Eastern
currency.
Asian, isn't it? It's somewhere
NOK
Eastern.
currency. Let's find out what it is, Joey.
Sure it's Eastern.
Norwegian kroner.
Oh,
Thank
there
you
you go.
very much.
Not even close.
BJO 9000. 50 Norwegian kroners. Could you take a quick look at Wolf and tell me your thoughts? Love the show. Thank you, my friend there. Yeah, we've been looking at Wolf, man. That's the one I was calling Wolf Speed. Incorrectly, it's actually Terra Wolf. We're long over here. So let's do a little bit of TA on the black charts and kind of look at why I'm into this area. So I perceive BJO 9000 a double top here at 370. Now, doesn't mean that just because we double topped, cleared it, and came back down into it, we're going to use it as support. We have been, though. We have been using it as support, but we are putting in lower highs even with that support. So this has me worried that we might get a flat bottom break through that key 770 area, because why do I feel that way? Well, let's have a look at the chart pattern after the animation is done. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. You see where I'm going? Lower high. And we just opened up another candle right now on the 5 that's also got a lower high. So we know that there's a buyer, at least for the moment, at that 770. So resistance from over here flips to support, but that doesn't mean that it holds up forever and ever more. And it breaks, it can break quite aggressively to the downside. As you know, there's a lot of pressure building up on that flat bottom break. So be on the lookout for that. What changes the pattern, in my opinion, BJO 9000, is if you start putting in higher highs. That's why I kept, saying lower high, lower high, lower high. I really want to drive home the point that the sellers have been in control, at least from that high of 812. I'm not saying it ends if we make a first 5-minute candle to make a new high, but it certainly puts the potential for a trend change back on the table. So be on the lookout for two things. Flat bottom breakthrough, 770, could be quite violent, number one. Number two, look for a trend change to the high side for a 5-minute candle to print a new high. I think that could present an opportunity. So that's my analysis on Terra Wolf, WULF, Joseph Wilson.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Stevenson, I will get in a move and the move starts working, then I'll secure a profit. As soon as I see price keep going, I re-entered and boom, news comes out and caught me slipping. Yeah, it happens, brother. You've seen it live here on air when that happened to me. Boom, Donald Trump decides to tweet our truth that, hey, we're going to put in a pause, and then boom. Squeeze, and that was not fun. So those things happen. But as for DKNG, thanks for pointing this one out, guys. Oh, yeah. This looks really, really good here. I'm half Jamaican, by the way, for the individual asking. So yeah, there it is.
Green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow,
green and yellow. So there it is.
Jamaican buddy, shut the hell up about that.
That's all right. I like green and yellow. We love it, and black too. You can throw black on that one as well too. DraftKings, boom. Trading really nice today, right? So this is a positive look. Breaking out, yeah, I think that's already happened. Let's take a look at it from a daily to see what we got cooking up there. And sure enough, yeah, holding some key support levels, a nice bounce off of them and heading back into the middle of this range. But we're still kind of engulfed by this candle right here. So just keep an eye out on that one. Another 50 nook here, Sharif. Thank you, sir. I got 150 shares of Wolf. I bought in the middle of April. I have stop loss below for half of 740. Will quit my job at 11.
I love it. I love hearing it. I love it. Who doesn't dream of that, man? Who doesn't dream of actually getting to do this, from like, say, I don't know, 7:30 in the morning till 10:30, degen into these small caps. You got the rest of your day. I mean, that's the life. But you got to put in the hours to make that happen.
It takes time, brother.
You got to put in the hours, bro.
It's not even hours, man. You got to put in
days,
years.
You believe in that 10,000 hours to mastery kind of saying?
Yeah, I don't know if there's ever mastering this. You can just continue to get better on this. But again, I'm sure there's people who are phenomenal. I'm sure there's the other side of the coin who say, you can master trading. You can become really, really good at it. But I don't know about absolutely mastering it. I'm sure there's people that have, and maybe we think of and we look up to them, but they take their losses as well, too. I have a friend of mine who has $1 million, $10 million portfolio, and he's taken multi-million-dollar losses, and he's like, man, I don't even know if I can do this anymore because it's so mentally taxing.
Is it ever, bro?
Yeah.
Is it ever? I mean, you kind of explained some of your frustrations there in the beginning. Yeah. Obviously, I've expressed my frustrations with a lot of slipper throwing. into mirrors and windows and broken stuff during COVID mostly. Because when you come here, you're gonna start throwing stuff. You're gonna see the door pretty
you're
quick.
Out the door real quick.
So you can't really throw stuff around here. And there's a lot of electronic equipment.
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
Joey.
Did you go through any monitors or anything?
I didn't. I didn't. I'm too frugal for that.
Accident.
I'm too frugal.
But see, listen to this, right? It's a double. It's horrible, right? So you have a horrible loss day, and you're pissed. And what I did is I threw my headphones, and I didn't mean to hit the screen and hit the cord of it, cracked it. So I'm down $300 on the day, and then I got to go buy another monitor. So you're down $500.
The headphones are okay?
The headphones were broken, so it's another $520 right there. Boom, gone just like that. So it's essentially a lose-lose situation. But we've all been there. That was the only time I did it. I told myself I'll never do that again because I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, and then I look at the corner of my screen and it was broken, and I'm like, oh, you silly goose, Joe. But anyways, Ethereum's stronger than Bitcoin, which kind of sucks. But there we go. We're back towards these key resistance zones on ETHA, and then as for IBIT, we're heading towards those lows. We need those support levels to come into play. Volume is starting to cool down on the 5-minute time frame on those selling prints. So this is what's keeping me within this trade. But I also mentioned 85s. I'm out of it. If it's not going to work, I'm not going to hold on to those losers, Sharif.
All right, your boy Bovin there in the chat, my boy Bovin, mentioning IMAB. Bovin, alerts I check. Simple as that. Bovin, AKA my other pair of eyes. This is a good breakout here. Very similar, Bovin. I don't know how you feel about this, Bovin, but there's a lot of similarities with IMAB and DOGZ. Z, whatever, leave me alone. Look at this. Flat top breakthrough 480, we rock it up. I've seen this story before, right here. Flat top breakthrough 1250, rock it up. Is there an overlap between these two companies? What the hell does IMAB do? I need to know, just for my own curiosity over here. Global biotech company, okay. I don't think DOGZ is a biotech company, but we're going to check. China-based holding company, principally engaged with pet products. Clearly not. There's no similarities whatsoever in the actual business model, but the charts look awfully similar. I like this. I like the, not GOGZ, sorry, let me load this up, IMAB. I like this. It's a fantastic look, Bovin, 480 breakdown. I'm a buyer with good shares too. Let's see what it does though at 490. It's at 5, so that's your first step right there. It's got to clear that $5 area. It's got to drop below $5 because that's your key area of psychological support, right? But if it does drop below 5, first area I'm looking, that green line, wherever it is, the 10 EMA on the 5, and then if it really loses that, then I'm looking to pick it up in the mid to low 80s aggressively, because that is a great top there at 480 that they couldn't shake. And then to add to the validity of that 480 level, Joey Options will appreciate this. Joey, look at the side. Look at the breakout of that 480 area with the volume. With the volume.
That's what you want to look for.
Exactly.
Breakouts.
So I'm looking for 480 retracement Bovin at worst. I'm looking at 490 first and foremost, though. That's where the 10 EMA on the 5 is. Thank you for calling this one out, Bovin. It just found its way on the chart, side chart. It replaces RSLS, which was the mover from yesterday. So we'll put IMAB here. I do appreciate that, and we'll keep an eye on it. It's not up big or anything, but up 17% and change. WULF, we just wet the beak there on again. This one's still holding generally that 770 area, didn't break down. So I don't want to take it out too quickly, but I did wet the beak there at 81s. And this one just continues to go. It is not a rocket ship, but it is a stair step up. Hey, let me give you another few pennies every 5 minutes. That is a predictable setup, so we'll keep an eye on this one. It just got into my next beak wetter at 73, but it didn't print as a result of the 2-penny spread, so let's keep an eye out on this one. 75 is going to be the next beak wetter if we can get that 73 print. That's my story, Joey, and I'm sticking to it. Yep. What do you got?
Hey, what a wonderful kind of day when you learn to work and play. If anybody knows where that's from, shout out to them. I think that's the Arthur theme song. Yeah, well, I'm not the best singer either, though, but Arthur. Anyways,
get it, Joe.
For those who used to watch it, the Aardvark. So yeah, IBIT holding these lows really well, and then also Ethereum slightly working out for us as well too. A couple pennies there, but we're looking for substantially more. So that's nothing. Small potatoes, small potatoes. And the thing is, though, I'm just sitting here talking to myself, and you don't want to do this leading into vacation or even into the weekend or even the next day. It's just you don't want to just destroy everything. You want to end it on good terms, whether it's just you following your system or having a solid green day, right? So for me personally, it's just calm, cool, collected right now. A couple more attempts, but we're not just going to wipe away everything that we've made yesterday and throughout the week. So just keep that in mind. We're going to keep it cool and see if things work out. I think we can work and get into VWAP. I mentioned that we've ran into this level umpteen times now and looking to play this specific target. And the same thing with Ethereum, right? We know that the run that it's been on. So I'm just like, why would we not continue in the strength? One thing to note is obviously I'm just running through a bunch of scenarios in my head, is that yesterday when we experienced that CPI, was it yesterday CPI, I believe? Yeah, yesterday was it? Yeah,
day before.
Day before on Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday was CPI. So when we experience that, you get that big time move up. Oh, I'm on the wrong underlying here. So this is essentially what I'm looking at here, right? So we'll go back into Tuesday. Where are you?
Scooby-Doo, where are you?
Anyway, oh, is this it? Yeah, 835. So boom, you get this move up, right? So essentially what I'm thinking is, okay, so on that print, you climb higher, the volume steps in the pre-market, you hold those levels, and then you just trend continuation, right? So essentially what I'm thinking is, all right, we had the negative on the PPI this morning, and then now you flush, but then wait for a lower high to be established, and then maybe you can get the continuation, or just maybe not. It may not be in play. This market is extremely, extremely strong. And then it's funny, Sharif and I, everybody here, we were all talking about, yeah, the market seems slightly frothy, but there's nothing wrong. We can't find anything to go wrong. And I just said, hey, the market will find something when it wants to. And then sure enough, we get that PPI, but then it's strong enough. It's like, okay, that's done with. We've priced that in. Let's start buying some of these dips. And sure enough, you're starting to experience some of the like Meta, Microsoft, and some of those big mega cap names. They sell a little bit, and then sure enough, they just get bought right back up. So I think that's kind of the sentiment that we're currently sitting in. And it's a bullish one. And that's why I was saying to myself, it's so hard for me to short this market because we haven't found that big time negative catalyst just yet.
Well said, man. All right, guys, there's a couple of things happening right now. IMAB is breaking out as we speak. I tried to get a dip trade. This thing gave me a gesture that I can't do on YouTube. 520 high. It's about to break that high. The seller at 20 is getting decimated. As you can see, the size really dwindling there from the gateways. We'll have to see if the hidden seller at 520 can prevent this one from ascending any further. The spread tightened up to 1 penny. This was as wide as 15. I don't know what the hell is going on here with the spread, but there it goes. It is a 525 high, my favorite number. This thing is really on the way up. Shout out to Bovin for calling this one out, but it's not the only one breaking out, guys. AERT, one that you guys have been yelling about in the chat, and rightfully so, is also breaking out. It's got a $1.45 high. It's much cheaper than some of the others, so you can size in substantially here into this one. And I'm not suggesting that you should, nor is this trade warranted. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, you know, these $1 stocks allow you to kind of get bigger percentage moves. And if you have a smaller account, you can punch into more of them, which is why sometimes they're looked at as retail fan favorites. In any event, I see this 127 area, 125 area as an area of support. Here it comes, 145 high, and now it's dropping back down aggressively. Is it going to hold 125? That 125 area was yelling at me, hey, look, I'm support. So it does dip, and it is defending 125 for the moment. Does it continue to do that? Let's load it up on a trading screen so we can get a better gander of the what's it called? The spread in the level 2. Is this on the NQ? Yes, it is. So it's a 1 penny spread right now. Let's give this one the old college try, and we're going to get in. And Joey, you know what we're going to do, man? We're going to give it to the low 20s, okay? So we got to give this a little bit of room here. So, you know, we're going to risk 5 pennies, nothing really major. And we got in at 28s. That sucks. I thought I got 27s. Let's layer here into the 30s. We'll risk 5 pennies on this bad boy, come what may. We'll see if we can get something in and around the mid-30s, holding up at the 10 EMA on the 5. But I got to tell you, I'm liking this Wolf trade less and less and less. It keeps popping up, and I keep getting prints. I'm not complaining about that. But what I am complaining about is it's actually using the 10 EMA on the 5 as resistance now. It wicks up above it and can't really break above it. So I don't know how to feel right now about WULF. We're going to pack my patience. Did I get the fill? Of course I didn't on IMAB. Get it, Adara?
Oh, wrong.
No, it's all good. No worries. Okay, so we're going to go to Adara in a moment for happening now, but this is the chart on IMAB. It's an ugly, ugly topping tail candle in the 527. It's dropping fast and furious right now into 510. I have a dip trade at 507. I will allow it to fill if it does get filled, and I will give it to prior bar low. Prior bar low goes to 497. So we'll give it to a few pennies below that $5 area. That's my story, Joey. I'm sticking to it. We're going to go to Adara for happening now, and then your boy Neil Roberts going to drop his lesson.
Let's
go.
Nice higher low here for the Nasdaq. Look at where we had this base here in this 15-minute chart for the QQQ on that PPI reaction. Again, every PPI print was higher than expected. Then we fall a little bit again at 11 a.m. after Peter Navarro makes a series of comments on CNBC, talking a little bit here about the potential of pharma tariffs, and then also saying that apparently the PPI data, we'll have to wait and see how the market reacts. It is worth noting Peter Navarro also famously said that one of the previous prints, I think it was the GDP, was the best negative print they've ever seen. So keep that in mind. Either way, good look here for the Nasdaq. Let's see, though, if we can actually make a higher high, because right now it looks like we have a higher low, but a lower high as well. S&P 500 looking almost identical to the Nasdaq with that in mind. Bullish on watch. Second day of trading. Initially, this did look really bullish. We had this push here from the lows of around $70 all the way up to 84, 85s, but now pushing back lower, about $10 right now removed from that high of day. Keep an eye here as well on CoreWeave. This one trading a lot lower. The IPO lockup period for this ends tonight, so keep an eye on this one. Then Coherent, one of many earnings names on watch, CSCO, JD. Tons of names reporting earnings, I guess earnings day one today. And then tonight after the close, check out the market recap with Sean and myself at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll get AMAT earnings. We will get QUBT earnings. We will get KULR earnings, a little bit of another kind of meme or retail favorite type stock at times. And we'll also get NNE. So definitely join Sean and myself for those. Right now, though, we're sending you to Neil and his lesson of the day. Neil, take it away.
Thank you, Adara. The lesson of the day is nobody wants a slipper. No one wants to get beat down for breaking rules. And I heard the boys talk. I don't even remember what you guys were talking about, but then someone referenced the slipper. You don't want to get hit with something. So I'm going to start with why you don't want to break the rules, and I'm going to tell you my story about the slipper because someone asked for it in the chat. Because most children of West Indians probably have a similar story to this. No, it just comes down to you should always admonish yourself for not following your rules. And the market's going to teach you something if you don't follow the rules. But I'll show you a good example or two really good examples of this, because I was completely convinced that we're going to have a short day today on bullish. But I also knew that there were two key price levels I wanted to engage with underneath the 80 level where it flushed here, and then up at around 86. And this is one thing that becomes important. It's like when you have key areas of interest, oftentimes there's a reason why you highlight them, because if one breaks, you're in a world of pain till you get to the next. And obviously I could have been in the second short, but it's a day saver to get away from this thing when it's breaking away from this resistance from the day before. Like that's $5 to the upside. Like that you can ruin yourself there. And obviously it ends up holding that top. Let's be real. If I just averaged into this at the high, I'd be absolutely laughing. But I wait for it to re-engage under VWAP and underneath that support, and that's when I get back into shorting the trade. Because I missed it up here, I'm engaging down here. It's that simple. Follow your rule, or you get the slipper. The biggest example of how you could have got the slipper today was I knew I was taking an Apple breakout at 235. I wasn't as jazzed about it after we had the big move to the downside on the print at 8:30, but I still had the order out there, and we follow our rule. I always have a really tight stop on a breakout trade. That's just how I roll. But if you don't get out right away, you get the slipper. I don't care how much I like a breakout trade. Breakout trades, to me, you don't give a ton of room with, or you're going to get hurt. Dip buy, patience. Breakout trade, lack of patience. It better start working right away or I want no part of it. So you have a rule, you follow the rule, and it helps you to save money. Now, I was asked in the chat what the slipper means. Look, I had a paper route when I was younger. Technically, it was my older brother's paper route, but we did it together. You know, I got a cut because, I mean, whatever. I don't even think I was getting half because he's my older brother, and that's just how these things work out. But in the mornings, we'd have to like fold the paper, sort the papers in the basement, get everything going, and get them delivered by a certain time. Now, there was one morning, I don't remember why, but we were lollygagging, and we were going to be late and not make time. By the way that we were lackadaisical in setting up, we were not going to get out the door in time. Now, Moms wasn't saying a word. She was letting it happen and just watching us lollygag, knowing it was our responsibility. When we emerged from the basement, clearly late, she had a look on her face, and we knew instant acknowledgement that we done messed up and we were going to be late. But we were about to be even more late because the slipper done came off. Now, the good news was it was my older brother's paper route. So that meant him first, which gave me the opportunity to make a choice. I could sit there and watch, knowing what was going to happen next, or I could flee. Now, a smart person would have sat there and watched. I decided to flee, and I ran up the stairs only to get caught in the back leg with the slipper. Bam! Every West Indian parent knows how to fling. She's got a great left hand, right hand, ambidextrous. That's just how she rolls. My mom's amazing. But the reality is, and again, like it's harmless stuff at the end of the day. You can either choose to admonish yourself for not following your rules and punish yourself for not following your rules, or you can let the market punish you. Ask yourself which is worse. You can either just bite the bullet, don't let Moms get you with the slipper, just admonish yourself. I could have been like, yo, Len, man, we need to step up here. He could have said, shut the heck up. And I'd be like, no, Len, we need to keep going. That's my brother's name. And he could have tried to shut me in, but at least I would have tried and there'd be no slipper. So either the market's gonna punish you or you could admonish yourself when you break your rules. Much better if you allow yourself to be in control and not leave it to the market, which is always going to punish you more harshly. That is your lesson of the day. And shout out to all the good parents out there who aren't afraid to tell their kids what's real. That's all I'm saying.
I just like the story because it featured a slipper. I have an affinity for slipper.
Did you used to get the slipper?
I just like the story because it featured a slipper.
Did you used to get the slipper when you were younger?
Joseph, I caught all sorts of ass whoopings.
Oh, same.
All sorts of ass whoopings, bro. With whatever my mom could get her hands on. You know, if she got her hands on a mug, it'd be a mug.
Oh my god!
Right, like you know,
brother,
like,
I was just about to say, have you ever gotten the mug?
Oh, I've gotten everything, Joey. I got everything.
I got the hockey stick. The hockey sticks are around.
That's just the way it is, bro. You know, the Middle Easterners, they just go from 0 to 100 very quickly. Right, you know, they just go to anger immediately.
I have no idea how I was tolerated as a kid. Like, luckily, I had a cute smile. Otherwise, it's just like, man, ship this guy away. And like I was thinking the other day, if my kid is anything like me,
which I know it will be, because I'm gonna have to be made to pay,
bro.
I'm gonna have to be made to pay.
It is like I probably. It's just best I don't have one because. It's just like
get him, Madeira. No, but like, look, he's worried about karma, Madeira. He just knows that he was such a troublesome kid, like myself, as a young person. He knows that karma's coming for him. It's gunning for him, Madeira.
How bad were you guys as kids that this is a
pretty
real
bad
thing that you worry about? Like, in my day, you know, I didn't want to throw out a ham sandwich that wasn't mine, so I got a detention. Like, that was...
Yeah, but you're much more level-headed than, you know, both. Like, I could tell that from your disposition.
I'm trying to picture these childhoods, and karma, this is...
Constant whoopings, Adira.
Yo, boys are way more
Of course you could come in, man. Neil's chiming in over here. Oh, my goodness. Get him, Neil. Where's Neil at?
Where's Neil at?
He's coming in.
He's coming in there. Get him at, you know. Neil, bang.
Get attention. The last thing you want to do with a West Indian parent is try to get attention. There's a saying with West Indian parents, especially if you're out in public. West Indian children do not embarrass their parents. West Indian parents will embarrass their children. That's the reality. However you think it's going to go in public, you throw a fit or whatever. No, it's going exactly the other way. You're about to be seriously embarrassed if you try to push that. I'm just saying, it's a little bit different. Some people would call it harsh.
Oh boy.
But at the end of the day,
I don't think it's harsh.
To take it back a little bit, as long as you're attentive, as long as you care about your kids, as long as you are willing to discipline them, tell them what's right and wrong, I mean, you know, there's some leeway to how you go about it, and obviously there's some lines that you shouldn't cross. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. But you're not embarrassing a West Indian parent. I can't tell you the number of times, and thankfully I had an older brother, so whenever shenanigans happened, I would sometimes get the benefit of, yeah, well, you're the older one. You should have been controlling him.
Yeah.
And so my brother would get a lot of that nonsense, where like I was being a tomfool, and my moms would just be like, it's your responsibility. You're supposed to look after him. You let him do that. And my brother would like, he'd live with it. And he's probably a better person
older
than
siblings'
me.
problem,
Older
though,
siblings
yeah,
do
yeah,
get that a lot. It teaches them a lot of responsibility. That's probably why my brother is such a good human being as an adult, is because of what he had to put up with me. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents.
I love it.
Get it, market, although the market's going to the downside.
Yeah,
By the way, market's going down.
Yeah.
Amazon's going to get close to the high, up 2.5%. Strong day for Amazon.
Yeah, it's the strongest. The Flakes and the Flakes is not Mag 7 name. Amazon, the strongest Mag 7 name, easily far and away 2.5% on the Zon. The second best, Joey, I would say Goggles, right? Goggles up 0.94, so almost 1%. But if you're looking at the old FANG, it's definitely the Flakes today. NFLX up 3.1%. Great look for Flakes there. I want to mention a couple of things. First of all, we're in IMAB at 13s. Oh, boy. We've wet the beak up there to 30. The high of the day's 33. I'm posting at 35. Let me wet the beak here because I still have a couple more outs. Oh, boy, it's coming in down now. Down, down, baby. No street and no range. All right, we're going to take it out there. That was all sorts of slippage down there. But we'll take some out there. That's okay. We're still positive on it. Now, I'm still printing on CGTX. We're about 20 pennies in the money. This is a dollar name, guys, and it's still going. 77 print, 78 high. We're at the highs as we speak. That's all the good stuff. Let me get to the bad stuff because there's both. This one, AERT. I was caught in a down halt on it. Thankfully, didn't lose that much on it. We got in at 27s and we got out at 22s. So we lost 5 pennies on that one, but I was in the halt on that. Just, you know, lucky that I didn't have a bigger down move. So we'll see how AERT is acting. It's below VWAP and kind of at the moment not of interest to me anymore, unless I can get back above that $1.15 where VWAP is. Also, WULF, you guys saw me in a trade in that before we went to Adira and Neil, and I got in, basically I was holding this one into 90, and then when it came back down again and started showing me lower lows and lower highs, I was like, that's a trend break. I'm getting the hell out. So I got out of Wolf, took like a few pennies there, left on the remaining amount. It ended up being positive trade, but not really the rocket that we were hoping. And look at it go down more. So this one does look like it's on its way at least to VWAP. Maybe 735 is where I'm seeing VWAP right now on WULF. Let's keep an eye out on that one. Last but not least here, let's go back to IMAB. As you can see, I've got an order there waiting at 505 for a fill. Well, what the hell is that 505, Sharif? The 10 EMA on the 5 is what's at 505. So I'm looking to add into there, which is above $5. So that gives me a bit of a buffer zone. So if I get that fill at 505, I can give myself a little bit of a buffer between my entry and that $5 area. So that's what I'm looking at right now. We're involved in a couple of names. I know the position board is restarting there, but that's what I'm in. We're in IMAB and CGTX, still holding a piece on both. Let's see what this one does. All right, before we go back to Joey options, we were at $29. So before I go, MIAX. New IPO today. What is it? It's an exchange in Miami called MIAX, and we actually have this gateway, this exchange, on the floor here. We can use it. It's one of the ways, you know, it's an exchange, if you're a newer trader, is like a street to get to downtown. So in Toronto, there's all sorts of streets that can get you into downtown. You can go down Yonge Street, Bayview, Leslie, Bathurst, all these different streets, right? So this is basically a gateway is a street to get to the exchange. So you can get downtown many different ways. You can get your order to the exchange many different ways. This is what it is. And they're going to market. I don't know why. I don't know too much about them other than they're a gateway on our platform. But their ticker is going to be the same thing as their gateway ticker. So if we were to see MIAX on the level 2, you'd see MIX. It's open. It's open.
It's open.
It's open, guys. Here we go. It's dropping down here, Neil.
Ooh.
It opened up at 31 2/3. It's dropping down aggressively. It's about $1 out of the money right now. A little bit less, Joey, but we just opened up. It's obviously opening above the IPO price, but MIAX is live now. Here we go. I guess that was a perfect time to look at it. Yeah, that's fantastic. MIAX is live, baby. So here we go. We're holding 31. No, we're not, Joey. That's on the bid. It's on the ask. Excuse me. The low is 30.50. We're zigging and zagging. A little above 31, a little bit below. We're 35%. Let's see how this cookie crumbles. Do we break above that 31.65? Here we go. All right, almost into 32. 78 seller got decimated. Mid-80 seller as well. Mid-90 seller got taken out, but down we go. Right back into the 80s. Here we go. 32 seller right now. Just got a glimpse of him or her or whoever the hell is on the other side. So we'll keep an eye out for 32. Local resistance level there, Joey. I'll keep your eye out on this one. MIAX. I forgot to mention it's on the New York Stock Exchange. So what a dump that was. There's a new low of day into 30.27. Yeah, you know what, bro? If they're not crypto or AI, I don't want nothing to do with it.
I don't want nothing.
I don't want nothing to do with it.
I don't want any part of that. That's for sure. So it's not going to be like yesterday. But guys, we got stopped out of IBIT and Ethereum. And I'm not going to try to milk a stone. Oh, okay. I thought that was, I'm like, oh no, did I add? That's TQs. But yeah, I got stopped out of both of those. Just cut that. And I don't think we're going to be able to, I don't think we're going to be able to. I'm not going to be looking for any other longs in that space right now. I just think it's time for everything to start pulling back, considering the run that we've experienced there on Ethereum. And then Bitcoin obviously touching those all-time highs yesterday, and then now starting to come back in. So it's time to flip up the game plan. Longs aren't working. We tried a couple of attempts on the short, but now I'm playing the short again on the TQs. The break of this key support level, I think that we have the ability to go into that PPI print low, and if the velocity starts to pick up, then I think we'll be okay. But you can see a breach of that specific level. We add into it looking for the continuation to the downside. As long as the volume stays cool on the lower time frames, then I think we'll be all right. But let's take a look at the chain. If anyone has a specific ticker that they want to go over, then let me know and we'll do so. Other than that, this is going to be my final trade of the day if I lose. If this is a loser, that's it. You're going to see me sitting on my hands. I have plenty of risk, but I'm not going to ruin the vibe whatsoever of my month, nor am I going to be going into a long weekend for me personally, wishing that I traded a little bit better. That's just not going to happen. So if I do any other transactions, going to be in the simulator, Sharif. So this is the final one, and that I promise you guys. All right, NVDA, we talked about that options chain. Let's take a look at the overall market, because I think that's really important to see if we see any specific call walls or anything along those lines. For today's expiration, let's go to tomorrow. Let's go to this week's expiration. Wow, 580. Okay, that is beautiful. I wish I took a look at this a little bit earlier. 580, look how substantially. So guys, when we're trying to identify call and put walls, you're going to see like a lot of people point out these strike prices, and it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. There's 10,000, 15,000, but everything, all the strikes above and below it are at like 12, 13,000. That's not substantial for me, right? I want to see something that's eye-popping, and you can see with me when I'm like, wow, look at that concentration at 580, 50,000 contracts. 50,200 contracts at that strike price, and then look at everything else. Small, small, small. 20,000 here, 2,000, 2,000, 3,000, 3,000, 17,000. So the next largest strike is going to be that 590, or sorry, not 590, 575, which can act as a potential put wall. Sorry, I'm going to eat that word. 570 with 26,000, but that's half of what we're experiencing right here. We're going to let Sharif do this, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about it.
I got news, exciting news for Canadian sophisticated traders. Beta Pro by Global X Canada has just launched 6 new triple guys, leveraged ETFs offering 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P, TSX 60, semiconductors, and U.S. Treasuries. You want even better? They're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points up until December 31st, 2025. These ETFs also employ currency hedging to seek to neutralize US dollar exposure, providing performance that may more accurately reflect the underlying US indices. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3x daily to learn more. Shout out to the good folks there at Beta Pro by Globex. I mean, that's interesting, Joey. And we were kind of joking around when we used the word sophisticated, but let's call a spade, all right? Triple leveraged ETFs are a little dangerous.
Yeah.
They give you a lot of exposure. There's a lot of decay holding these bad boys overnight. So you should probably, cross your T's and dot your I's.
More or less an intraday vehicle, right? Like if you're really looking to leverage your system, we talk about this all the time, Sharif,
sir.
is just that those aren't long-term investments, right? They seem really, really obviously intriguing to buy. They're usually lower priced, and it's like, oh, okay, well, 3 times I can make 3x my money. Well, guess what? It doesn't work like that. So if the underlying falls 1%, guess what? That ETF is falling 3%. All right, it's substantially larger, and then you also have the rebalancing, so you get that decay over time. So that's why it's more or less an intraday vehicle and not necessarily something that you invest in the.
Joey, I got to cover this.
Go ahead.
32 got breached, and now. And MIAX is using 32 as support. I've been watching this. It's going to rocket up. Here's 33. 33 is the resistance right now. That's the high of the day. It cleared 32, and then it literally used $32 as support. I think it went down to 98 at most there when it cleared 32. And here we go. We're now using 33 as that resistance. There's size there, but you feel that 33 seller, maybe not on this attempt or the one after, but that 33 seller might be in trouble here. That is the high of the day right now on MIAX. This is an IPO, guys, a new IPO, a Miami exchange. It's trading on the Nasdaq under ticker there, MIAX. Be careful with this as it's quite volatile. It's not super spready. It's 9 to 20 pennies at times, but it's definitely got a lot of volatility, and the spread does open up wide at times. You need to be alert for that. Here's that 32 drop. Do we get the pop? 32 and a third buyer. We're dripping here. All right. Down in the 32. Do we hold? We're holding momentarily, breaching 32. All right, wow, all the way down into 31.75. Can we quickly regain 32? We have it on the ask, not on the bid. So the bamboozlement is fast, furious, and kind of cray-cray. Be careful with this one. We're going to keep calling it out as the price action develops. Sorry to interrupt you, Joey, but I want to mention one other thing over here. CGTX, $1.81 high, tanks. Back down into 156. I'm long 155. So I'm now break even on the last remaining amount, but I do have an order there in front of 150, which I will allow to fill. Why? Because that's a volume weighted average price. It's also the 50 penny area that I like for psychological area of support or resistance, depending if it's coming from the north or south side. So CGTX, ugly flush. We always talk about this. Escalator on the way up.
Nice trade.
Elevator on the way down.
Nice trade there on that.
I appreciate you, Joey. How about this one over here? Boom on IMAB into the high. We got 13s. We just took out 34s. So IMAB, shout out to the OG Bovin. He pointed this one out to me. It's going, Joey. We just got the print there at the day's high. Let's set up now in the 41s, see if we can wet the beak in and around there. But I'm going to be watching intently here. CGTX, I don't want this to go against me. Looking to pick some up.
Good look. Good look there, brother. All right, so we got some earnings after the bell today. So let's go through some of the expected moves and just take a look at the options chain you're considering. I'm sitting in my final position. As long as we construct a lower high, then we'll be okay. Maybe we'll go test those lows. But extremely volatile, slightly choppy session for me personally. Anyways, all right. Applied materials, and what I'm talking about is you want to see something that just grabs your eye, grabs your attention, and I'm not necessarily seeing that to a certain extent. So at 180, we do have a little bit of a put wall, so $9,300 contracts there, and then on the call wall we have 100 at that 190 strike price. We got 4,888 there, and then now let's take a look at our expected move. AMAT. Applied Materials. Sharif, I believe you dabbled in this one before, no? AMAT?
I'm in. Oh, AMAT?
Yeah,
No.
Okay.
I'm not in AMAT.
So a 5.1% expected move. So I can't talk today. 75% at the money IV with a high of around 198 and a low of around 178.92. Now let's see what other names we got. I think there's a couple. NU Holdings. Okay, why are you doing this to me? So embarrassing. Okay, there we go. NU Holdings, let's take a look at this one, and then we'll pull up the chain, considering we're on this page right now. So we're looking at a 7.4% expected move, 146% at the money IV, a high of $12.96, and a low of $11.17 a trade.
You've seen Trade the Pool here with us for a while now, guys, and now they've created something very special just for you, our viewers. A free ebook featuring 4 proven swing trading strategies from Trade the Pool's top funded traders. Inside the book, you'll see exactly how they approach the markets, how they manage their risk, and what setups they rely on so you can learn and grow from what actually works. Guys, download it now by scanning the QR code on the screen or hitting the link in the description. Shout out to the great folks at Trade the Pool, and if you're wondering whether you'll ever see Mitch live in living color here in the studio, the entire Trade the Pool team is visiting Trader TV in October. We still got to wait a little bit for your boy Mitch.
You're going to be gone, though.
Hopefully, I think they're actually in the beginning of October. I'm probably going to go to the end because I always know that the mission trip extends into November. So it's like late October-ish, and I'm never here for Halloween. That's how I know that, right?
Okay, cool.
It'll hopefully I'll be around and we can shoot the breeze with your friend Mitch there. And he can tell us about all his swing trades.
Swing alert.
Swing alert.
Swing alert. All right, guys. NU Holdings, here we go. A weird concentration here. So 13, we got that 13 strike price, 15, and then also 14. We got 50,000, 56,000, and 50,000. We went over the expected move not too long ago. So let's see how that comes into play. On the put side, largest we got there is that 12 strike price with 34,700 contracts. So I think there's a little bit more of walls through these specific areas. If they're breached, just look for that next one to hold up. It's kind of like a blockade. With each blockade you go through, the next one becomes slightly more difficult because of the damage that you take. You've obviously exhausted some of the buyers as well too. So look for potential rejections. We went over that expected move, as I previously said, and then potential put wall as well too. So you look for the bounces off of that $12 strike price. And then the last one here, nothing crazy. We got QUBT. Bang, let's go. Quantum computing reporting today as well. Options chain, not too much activity considering the price, right? But we got the thousands, nothing substantial. I can't give you any form of gauge, and this is what I'm talking about when we're trying to identify call and put walls. You want to see something that grabs your attention, and we're not experiencing that right now on QUBT, maybe with the exception of the 18 strike price, but that's on the put side, so not much we can do about that. But let's take a look at the expected move on this one here, and then we'll send it back to my brother, man. All right, so QUET. Let's see what we got going on. Quantum computing. So we are looking at approximately a 9.5% expected move with a 200% at the money IV. So slightly expensive. You can see that my other platform is showing 225%. So relatively within that tight range. So. Yeah, I know I like box jumps. I like box jumps. That's for sure.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good.
These ones were very good.
Very, very
excellent.
Good. Excellent. Prestige.
Sorry to interrupt.
Very much so. But wow, crypto's taking it on the noggin. We don't like this too much.
It's all good, man.
It is.
Maybe I know. Crypto going up every day because then I start like, why didn't I?
I denied. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, here it is. Okay, that's a good topping signal as well, right? Considering the run that we've been on. Should have kept an eye on this print. We won't complain because we are down here around 27.60 or 70. Sorry, is my average price on that one. So that's been working out, and we're just going to continuously hold this. I mentioned I may not even attempt any further swing trades on the year. I'm just going to hold Ethereum because we were talking about this morning as well too. I know Katina Man likes Solana. I just think there's too much behind Ethereum right now. We know Adira's informed about this. Project URs too. Project Crypto. SEC looking to move the whole financial sector onto the Ethereum blockchain. Then we obviously have the Genius Act. You have to tokenize a lot of these names, USDT, USDC. They have to go on the Ethereum blockchain because they have to be be under smart contracts, right? And then also you get the yield from Ethereum from gas as well too. So you get the burnage, and then when you validate the transaction, you get that gas fee for holding so and staking your Ethereum. So I really like this for the foreseeable future. I think that when we do break that previous all-time high, we can make that move into 5,500, 6,000. It just may take a lot longer than what we're expecting, but I do like what we are seeing right now, Shree.
All right, Joey. Bovin strikes again. He strikes a lot, but he's been striking a lot lately. BMR, guys, it's a localized breakout. It was doing bupkis all morning. Be careful with these ones. It's breaking out 18 1/3, 19 1/2, 19 3/4, but there is a risk with these ones that move midday like this for there to be a V-shaped retracement, an upside down V-shaped retracement. So up and then down. So be careful with this. Definitely employ sound risk management strategies here with BMR on the NQ up 19%. All right, we just added there on IMAB like a psycho. So we got 6 on. Let's take out some 8s here, and then let's layer the orders. I just need to see how many shares we've got in the bag over here on IMAB. I don't want to take out too much too quickly. Let's go ahead and post up here at 14. It showed me 14 momentarily. Let's also post up at 19, and then we'll post up at 24s, okay? So that's what we're doing right now. Anything below 5, it's all over on IMAB. So let's go ahead and throw that stop there. I'm going to go like that, and then all the way down to her, and there we go. So stops in place. Everything's gravy. Let's see what happens. But BMR is still going. Where the hell is BMR? There it is. Okay, it's up 25% now, Bovin, 375 high. This one's still got the juice. And here we go. We just touched 375 again. It's a 385 now high, guys, but it's not spending any, real amount of time in any one area. So in addition to using resting stops, you can capture the price action. Be careful. This one could be trouble. Okay, I hate to say this. I've seen this story before. These ones that break out midday with no catalyst. Sometimes they do these Christmas tree retracements, as we call them, thanks to Randy. And what I mean by that is obviously one side is green, the other side is red, and it kind of looks like a Christmas tree. You guys get it. So that's what we'll look at right now. Looking back here on IMAB, looking for this one to generally hold the $5 area, and we'll see what we get with that one. And then, oh baby, CGTX we added, and now we're scalping out into the volume weighted average price, 155. I don't want to overstay my welcome on this one because it could be a dead cat bounce, as my friend Neil likes to call it. You just get into VWAP. There's some resting orders in and around there. It pops up a little bit, but it's really masking what's really happening, which is the sellers are in control. And you don't see that because you've got your long goggles on and you're looking for the bounce off VWAP when you really should be looking at the overall pattern. So going to keep my eye out here on CGTX. Don't want to give back too much, Joey. A few pennies now off my entry.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's do this. Let's have a little bit of fun on the chain here and just we kind of build some strategies. We'll do some basic hedging. We'll do some condors, butterflies. It's crazy because I haven't constructed so many of them in so long. I just would stick to the ones that I was good at, and then that's it. But yeah, we'll go over a couple. We'll go a fan favorite. Shreve, give me a fan favorite ticker right now.
Oh, sorry, I was reading a.
Sorry.
Yeah. Give me a fan favorite.
Fan favorite ticker.
Everybody likes. Nobody has bad feelings for Elon. Let's go Tesla.
Tesla. No one has bad feelings for Tesla. Okay, all right then. We're off to a great start.
Nobody,
here.
Neil.
Nobody. Everybody loves Tesla. Boy, I don't know.
Yeah. I heard a Dare up there. It's like, I don't know, bro.
But she said that she would buy if she could drive, it would be a Cybertruck.
I know she would. She likes the Cyber.
She likes the Cyber. Boxy, right? We don't like too much of a curve. You don't like the McLaren, Adara? I love it. So.
I haven't even seen a McLaren. I just like a nice boxy vehicle.
That's her style, bro.
I like a Chevy HHR. I like the Nissan Cube. Who's pressing the fail on all these vehicles?
Assassino, Adara. My hands are over here, bro. It's Assassino. No? Hold on. Who is it? The Chilean Nightmare?
Not me.
It ain't me.
I don't even have the fail thing.
It wasn't me. It must have been Fabian.
I like a nice boxy vehicle. I like a vehicle with personality, and I like the Cybertruck. And those front lights on the Cybertruck at night, beautiful.
Derek, can I tell you something?
Please do.
That's a light bar, by the way. That's not what's actually lighting the road. What's the real headlights are like these little tiny slits way below. I'll show you a picture in a second.
I still look into
they hide them, Adara.
I like him.
Okay, this isn't gonna.
I like the side, bro. Come on, no?
Obviously, we love the side, man. We love the side. All right, guys. So this is what we're gonna do. Sorry, this is kind of. I just need the profile up here. So essentially, let's construct a condor. What is an iron condor? For those who are asking, it's essentially you have the ability to manipulate options contracts to say, hey, I believe this stock is going to stay within a specific range. And this is where I love this strategy, because essentially it's very, very highly profitable. But again, when you're writing, you have to take specific measures in place. Sharif, interrupt me at any time, right? Because I'm just going to be going over these things.
This is important, man. I think people really want to see this.
Absolutely. So I'm just saying, again, you got trades going on. We're just doing hypothetical stuff over here, right? So essentially, right, like we have our stock. I'm not going to be able to use my tool here, so I can't, because I can't see anything. So, oh my days. This
embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing. Where is it? I lost it, Sharif.
The mouse?
Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right, I got it back. I got to shut this down.
That's happened to me today, too.
Okay, so let's pull up a daily here. We're going to do an example on Tesla because we did have a nice consolidation range, and we're just going to construct these. And this is why I specifically love this strategy. We're going to go over the probability of profit, etc., and everything that we tend to do. And this is what I used to do when I was sitting at home all day. I'd have my notebook. I used to actually, it's funny, I actually have still a lot of the old notes in here. It's just like every day I'd be just strategizing. Okay, like how am I going to, oh, you guys can't see, but every day it's just like writing in my notebook. I'm writing like, what is that next big potential trade? So this is what I was doing. So we find this consolidation, right? So we have this consolidation here on Tesla, and we have this range. So what I would used to do is I would sit back and be like, okay, what can I do to establish this iron condor on a stock that is moving sideways? So essentially what it is saying, hey, we're building a strategy where we don't believe that Tesla is going to go higher than 362, and it's not going to go lower than 275, we'll call it, all right? Roughly 280, 275. So that means that we have a range that this underlying asset can close in between and we can profit. We don't need to be directionally biased, even though sideways is a direction, so maybe I'm going to eat those words. But at the end of the day, we don't need the stocks to go up, down. We just need it to stay within a specific range, all right? So that is the strategy of an iron condor. So now, essentially what we got to do is when you are constructing these legs, you always want to write your first option first. Now, why did I go up to this 345 strike price? Now, this is where we can correlate our deltas, right? Our delta is also used as a percentage metric on which the probability of that specific contract is going to close in the money. All right, so what this is telling us at that one delta strike is that there is a 10% chance that that contract is going to close in the money, but the way that I like to look at it is there's a 90% chance that it's going to expire worthless, and that is the objective of this strategy. We want our contract combinations to expire worthless. So essentially, you look at this as a 10% chance. I'm looking at it as a 90% probability that it's going to expire worthless, and that way I collect the full premium. Now, on this specific strategy, we're collecting $52, but we also want to hedge this position. Why? Because we don't want to have our contracts assigned to us, right? Okay. So we don't want that assignment. So what we do is we buy a long contract, a strike above that. So that's going to cut the premium that we collect in half, all right? So that's okay, but our downside is now protected. Because if Tesla decides to go parabolic, we would lose infinite money because it continuously climbs higher and higher. This protects our downside, all right? So this is our first leg. This is a bear call spread. Okay. Now let's head down and construct our bull put spread. All right, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to head to that one delta strike right over here. We're going to go to 0.9, and we are going to select our short strike first, and then we're going to hedge that position about 5 points lower, and then sure enough, roughly collect the same amount. Now, let's take a look at our profile. Oops, where is it? Sorry, guys. I just had it. Yeah, I just had it up here. There it is. Perfect. Now let's take a look at the profile of this specific trade. Now, as what I was saying, this gives us a range. So what we are collecting is $46 per contract combination. May not seem like much, but when you have a probability of profit at 86%, I like my odds. Can you lose substantially more? Yes, but there's also a catch. If one side is working, so say Tesla decides to break up, what we can do is just close our bear call spread and allow our bull put spread to expire worthless, okay? So let's take a look at the profit profile. So this is exactly what it's telling us. In between a range of 317 And 350 is when we collect that full premium. Outside of that specific range is when we start to lose money, and those contracts are in the money, which we are not looking to do. We want it to expire worthless. Now, hopefully this is helpful, but you say, Joe, why would I want to make $50 when I have a potential loss of 500? That's worst case scenario. That's not what's going to necessarily happen unless something goes completely wrong with the market, and the chances are it's not going to. We've gone through those volatility phases, all right? But one thing to note, once again, is the probability of profit is I'm willing to risk a couple $100 to make $50 only because I have a 90% chance of collecting that $50. Now, you want to obviously keep those risk measures in place and set your stop losses on those specific contracts, but then there's also an additional way where you can just close the leg that isn't working in your favor and then add into the position and add into the leg that is, and just write a couple more contracts. So that is how you construct an iron condor. That's the principles behind it. It's range trading. It's not necessarily directionally biased, Sharif.
Fantastic, great. That was excellent. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that because I think that I've been asking you a lot of these questions, and you probably have to repeat yourself.
No, that's fine. I love repeating myself. I love talking about this stuff.
I know you
to be
do.
honest with you. So,
but I don't really want to be, the one that asks over and over. So I'll just rewind. And listen, Joey, remember how we were just talking about the blockchain possibly the stock market possibly finding its way onto the blockchain?
Yep.
So there was actually an experiment.
Yeah, with
Australia.
Yeah.
So I asked our very good friends at Perplexity why it didn't work out in Australia. What happened?
What happened?
So here's a very quick summary, and then we can go into some of the reasons. So it said the Australian Stock Exchange, which is ASX, abandoned its attempt to switch its core clearing and settlement systems to blockchain because the technology was unable to meet critical performance, scalability, and operational requirements. The project suffered from technical challenges, governance failures, inadequate stakeholder engagement, and over-reliance on immature technology, resulting in delays, massive overruns, cost overruns, and eventual suspension, which means nothing to any of us, right? A whole bunch of just vague statements. So I said, and then it gave me key reasons for the failure. So I said, look, summarize these key reasons in basically point form. So there were technical issues and performance. So apparently, Look at this. Major code-based problems. Nearly half of the code needed rewriting. And to this day, Joey, since they actually launched it, only 63% of the code has actually been done years later. So apparently there's...
I remember they tried this a long time ago.
I remember it was like late teens, wasn't it? Something like that. Scalability bottlenecks with serial and batch processing, concurrency problems. There was also, they chose a computer language called DAML. You guys may be familiar with that. I am not. Was poorly suited. Go, Adara.
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button again, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. But XYZ on watch, Jack Dorsey calling Block's new Bitcoin miner the greatest Bitcoin miner of all time.
Is it reacting?
It's a little bit, yeah. It got kind of right up to 75.60, then right back down. I did not mean to press that button. So
fine, you can do it anytime, man. You don't have to worry about that, Adara.
Don't apologize.
Yeah, so there's some interesting stuff here. So obviously, I want to do a bit more of a deeper dive.
Yeah.
But I want to see exactly, some of these issues that plagued the Australian exchange. Are they still persistent issues?
Yeah.
Or have they been kind of solved? All right, I got to digress for a second. ONDM. This is a sub $1 stock. I was dancing with this one for a little bit over here. It is now on a breakout. It's up over 100% and knocking the door of that $1 area. Just worked its way up into 98. It had spiked into 104 prior to that, or 105, excuse me. Now it's sub $1, but looking to break out again. It's up 100%. So be on the lookout here. ONMD on the NQ, trying to breach that dollar. So yeah, if you guys know more information about the whole Australian Stock Exchange trying to switch to the blockchain and can kind of give us, just an easy summary as to what happened, throw in the chat, tag Joey or I, because this is something that we've been talking about a lot, especially with, the hoods and the SoFis and whoever else trying to tokenize a lot of these newer assets. What's going on over there, Katina, man?
Still short Palantir at 185.
The Katina man is short Palantir at 185, and as you saw on the screen there, he was just running with a bucket full of cash, or a barrel full of cash. He's $5 in the money. That's what he is right there. 180.32. By the way, Katina man, you know that it opened, right? MIAX. Yeah. Neil told him. So there it is. There is a PLTR, a bit of a tougher day for PLTR, but it's more like every day we're making new highs. So today, taking some profits here, 2 1/5 in negative land. But anyway, back to ONMDs, zigs and zags, still south of that $1 area. I want to keep my eye out on this one. This could be a good breakout one, guys. We'll pack our patience and see what the situation is with this one. Also, I called out BMR as Bovin let me know that this one was moving. It does exactly what we thought it was going to do, a V-shaped retracement, but the move down was quicker. So didn't really look like a V. It looked like you took the elevator to the 5th floor, and then you took the elevator right back down to the 3rd floor.
Bro,
so
this is wicked. Wow.
Share.
Yeah. Okay, so you click on the specific strategy, right? So I'll make it simplistic, and we'll go to a vertical spread here, Sharif, and it will set it up for you. You hover over the bid, and it will suggest your trade, the positions for you. That's wicked.
That's
okay,
crazy.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, so there it is. That's the risk adverse, and there it is. So it'll tell you. So essentially, a vertical spread is just a hedged contract at the end of the day. But it'll say, hey, this is probably the best probability. You have 2 strikes ahead, and that's what I usually do, a $5 spread.
Right.
And sure enough, that's displaying for you. So just to touch on this one more time, a vertical spread is just essentially a hedged long contract. So you just you mitigate you reduce the cost, but that obviously reduces your potential risk to reward as well too.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I'm just cool. I didn't know that it did that.
Very
That's pretty cool. Yeah, sorry, continue.
no, you're good, man. That's actually quite interesting there. We, hopefully we'll be able to cover that in more detail on eSignal, as we will hopefully be getting options permissions on eSignal very soon. So be pumped about that. And we'll be able to kind of show you exactly what we're doing so you guys can follow along.
And then we can get it on the big screen too. That's what I'm really looking for.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be able to put it back on the screen there. Adira has news at the big desk.
I want to remind you guys as well, Donald Trump starts speaking at 1 p.m. Apparently, I'm seeing, according to The Hill, he's going to be talking about Social Security. So we'll see if that is the case. But seems like we might have a potential topic now for Trump's talk. Keep an eye on TSLA. This is very much in a bear flag today. But Coatue Management, apparently in its 13F filing, announcing that they've increased their share stake in Tesla by 24.2%. They now have 2 million shares. So TSLA, bit of a share increase from Coatue Management on their 13F filing. Does not seem to be impacting the stock too much here, though, guys. Back to you.
All right, yeah, interesting stuff. Just looking at the side watch list over here to see areas of strength and areas of weakness. A lot of red in the market today, to be expected with that PPI number coming a little hotter than expected. But when you're looking at the MAG 7, it's like a different story for the MAG 7. Like, my entire watch list is red, save and except for the MAG 7, who, for the exception of Apple and Tesla, what the hell happened to Tesla? Wasn't this thing just wasn't I just saying it was flat? What the hell? Why'd it tank like this all of a sudden? Elon Musk warning to Tesla short sellers, they will be obliterated. Get them, Elon. All right. I mean, no, Katina, man, it was down like 1/3%. Now it's down 2 1/3. I don't know what the hell is going on. There was an aggressive sell right around 11:15, 11:30. I don't know what the hell that was about. Yeah, Deere doesn't have anything on that, by the way, but okay. Straight to the dumpster, says Winston Lee.
Right away.
Right away, straight to jail. All right, we're going to start the news a little early today because there's a whole bunch to talk about. And I want to take time to talk about this Apple AI hardware thing. So there's a lot of new products that are being rumored here. Let's get to them. So there's going to be a flagship product, according to this article, launched in 2027, and it will be what they're calling, at least, a tabletop robot. So it's going to be a tabletop robot acting as a virtual AI companion. It's able to track users, engage in conversations, and assist you with tasks. So kind of like an assistant there on the top of your table. It's going to feature like lifelike Siri, so it's not going to be all computerized and weird, capable of joining in group conversations. So as we're talking amongst ourselves, Joseph, the AI is going to engage in conversations with us. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's going to be able to recall information, AKA it's probably going to be eavesdropping, and then be like, oh, you know where I leave my keys? Oh, Sharif, you left your keys on the back of the door there. I was watching you yesterday. That's very off-putting. Anyway, and it's going to also offer proactive suggestions. Very, very interesting stuff. It's going to be designed for productivity, media consumption, FaceTime tracking. It's going to have an integrated video calls app using the iPhone as a joystick. Great. The hardware is going to include here a 7-inch movable display on a motorized arm. Okay, so that's where the robot comes in, with a personality-driven bubbles interface and potential Memoji Finder-inspired design, Joseph. So that is the tabletop robot slated for release in 27, excuse me. There's going to be more, though. Smart home push. I was kind of surprised that they didn't have a push into this already. So in 25, so this year, they're looking to launch a smart speaker with a display, kind of like the Nest or the Hub or whatever, a simpler robot variant without the arm, but featuring home control. It's going to be able to play music, take notes, browse the internet, and video conference. And it's going to have a new OS. So we know there's Mac OS, there's iOS, there's iPad OS, there's stuff, the Apple TV as well, the Watch.
OS here.
There's going to be a new OS, Joseph. They are going to call it Charismatic OS. It's going to support multi-user modes, facial recognition login, voice-first interaction, and widget-heavy design. It's going to blend Apple TV and Watch OS elements, if you can even imagine that. I don't even know what that would look like. Offering personalization, quick task management for shared household use, etc. It's Apple's first serious entry into the smart home displays. I think they did have a product that they scrapped. It's going to compete, obviously, with the Amazon Echo and the Google Nest Hub. Those are some of the competitors. They're also expanding into home security. And a lot of this is AI themed, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So they're going to develop battery-powered security cameras with facial recognition, automation triggers, and infrared sensors. So you can have like a potential doorbell product with Face ID that can unlock the door as you just weasel in. It's going to, again, rival like that Amazon Ring, Google Nest, Roku as well. So, you know, stuff that already exists but gives you access to the Apple ecosystem if that moves the needle. Last but not least, Joseph, something that you and I and Adara and everybody else have been very, very much waiting for, a Siri overhaul. Let's go, Apple. So they're calling it Project Linwood. I don't know what it's named after, but this Project Linwood is a new Siri powered by the Apple Foundation model. So there's two approaches here to the overhaul of Siri. One, they're using an Apple-made LLM. It's called Apple Foundation Models, in-house built. It's going to use personal data integration and large language model capabilities. But they're also simultaneously in a parallel development program, Glenwood project. Glenwood doesn't use Apple Foundation models. It builds on Anthropic's Claude, not ChatGPT here. Elon, take it easy, right? Or other third-party AI tech. The new Siri for iPhone and iPad could launch as early as spring as 2026 with major visual redesign and expanded conversational abilities, Joseph. So it's going to be really interesting to see this sort of product launch. I don't know, timeline.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me, to be honest with you, because we know at the previous keynote this year, they set the bar really, really low. And I don't know if that is going to raise that bar here, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
2027, I mean, that's extremely forward-looking in my opinion. That's quite a ways away, obviously. But at the end of the day, hopefully they can get this right. We know that they've been struggling with the AI Apple Intelligence release anyways, and then now we're leading to the conversation, do they need to be leading in AI? And a lot of people are saying no, a lot of people are saying yes, but they need to get something right.
Yeah.
Is this going to lead them in the right direction? I don't know. I'm really curious to see what this thing, do we have any like beta model of this thing? What it
Nothing,
looks
Joey.
like?
We haven't seen anything.
We have nothing of this, right? So we don't know how good this is going to be. And as for smart homes, we already have, what is it?
Exactly.
Some of the other
Ring,
things.
Nest, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. What is the one that I'm looking for? Everyone says, hey, not Google. What is the name for the Google one? It's slipping my mind. I thought about it this morning.
Alexa?
Alexa, right? You got
Amazon,
the Alexa,
yeah.
right? Amazon's Alexa.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Google Home as well too. So
Hey,
they're
Google.
exactly. Hey Google. So yeah, exactly. So
Sorry,
we're already late. They're late to that dance. I'm curious to see how this is going to be, but I'm glad that at the previous keynote they set that bar low, and if they can turn heads with this, maybe this new AI robot, that's going to be positive for it.
Yeah.
I don't know personally. I don't.
It's going to be interesting. We're not even really talking about a robot. We're talking about a dang arm over here.
Yeah,
I mean,
like a thing. It's like a cone, right?
I want to see what it looks like. We don't even have a design. Adara, which one of these products here kind of moves the needle for you, if any?
Honestly, with Apple, I kind of have to see it to believe it. But guys, I have an element of this that I really want to mention.
I want to hear
The
it.
second I heard that, I was hearing you guys talk about the tabletop robot on the desk this morning, and it triggered some major deja vu in me. Like, my brain was like, I've heard this before. So I went on AI and I said, hey, when was the first time it's reported Apple's had a tabletop robot? Because I knew this was not new. And it's not new, guys. Going back to April 2024. More than a year ago, basically a year and a half ago, Bloomberg started reporting, hey, not only is Apple considering this whole tabletop house robot space, but apparently they were telling executives that they want the future of the company to be in that robotics and home space, which is really different, but that's what apparently they said. Then this thing on my screen here, August 15th, 2024, a year ago. From tomorrow, that's when we get the first report that they're actually developing this $1,000 tabletop robot with the iPad-like display, but it was supposed to be released next year, not 2027. So remembering that, Sharif, honestly, I think they're kind of behind the times again.
Oh, well, that's not a shock.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy I remembered this. So
that's good.
Eidetic memory and AI. Because I knew there was something about this that bugged me, and that's what it is. This isn't even news.
So are you averse to the product or just the delays?
I'm just averse to the delay and the fact that I think with Apple, like Joe was saying, they set the bar so low that anything excites us. And I don't know. I'd like to think I'm a bit tougher to please, Sharif.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I know you do. You have every Apple product, but you like to criticize them. I like that, Adara. I like that. Well, hey, mate, you and I both. And I punched in, and I still criticize them.
Let me say something.
I give you credit for that. Go ahead.
Let me say, so this liquid glass, I'm going to be honest with you, I was building PowerPoints using that transparency way before I heard about liquid glass years ago. So to me, I don't think it's anything substantially groundbreaking whatsoever.
They were saying that the programming was super hard because of the physics. So what I mean to say is, so like when you slide over something, it would like actually distort the image like you would if you actually put a glass over it. So I don't think that moves a needle for me and you. We don't care about that.
Yeah.
But they were saying like the physics was actually quite groundbreaking.
Like there's these couple PowerPoint guys that I used to just religiously watch when they were constructing, and they were using this way before I had heard about Apple liquid glass. So
yeah, I mean, to me, it's nice. All right, you guys redesigned iOS. You hadn't done it since 13. Fantastic. But when I want like information while I'm in my car, I don't want Siri to be a dud, man, all right? If I ask a specific question, give me a specific answer. I shouldn't have to fumble and go into chat and launch the voice app, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that hard, Apple. Anyway, that's my little 2 cents there. I think we've spent enough time on Apple. We've already talked about the bullish.
We can go all day about Apple.
I know, we can. Yeah, I know, but for just, brevity's purposes. We're not going to talk about the bullish IPO. We're going to leave that one. Let's talk about this Google $9 billion Oklahoma expansion to boost their AI and cloud infrastructure. We know Google's spending up a storm of money. Come on, Storm. In CapEx, most of it's going to AI. This is part of it. So they are going to invest $9 billion, as I mentioned, in Oklahoma to develop a new data center campus in Stillwater, Oklahoma, to expand its existing prior facility over the next couple of years. The move is, a part of Google's aggressive push to scale up cloud computing as well as AI infrastructure. Some of the tech that they're going to develop it in conjunction with the University of Oklahoma as well as Oklahoma State University. So they're getting, nice. It's good for the state, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. These will be part of Google's AI for Education Accelerator, offering kind of career certificates, AI training courses for free to the first cohort. Google is partnering. This is what caught my attention. Google is partnering with the Electrical Training Alliance to more than double Oklahoma's electrical-focused workforce pipeline. Why the hell does that even matter? Well, because they're building these new some of them are nuclear, some of them are not, power plants to be able to, power these AI data centers, which are super power hungry. But if you don't have the manpower, the labor force to be able to kind of obviously maintain that and have it running, then it's kind of useless. So it's nice to see that they're actually investing in human capital as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know over here it takes forever to build things. You go over to China, boom, because they have the manpower. But anyway, Shreve, I mentioned this before. By the way, Google up 45% off of those April lows. I mentioned playing the catch-up trade, so we're only about 0.5% off of those previous all-time highs. But I mentioned this before. As long as CapEx is heavy, as long as these hyperscalers remain to spend all of this capital on the infrastructure, I'm going to remain bullish on this AI trade until it starts to cool down, which I don't think for right now anyways it's going to. But for me personally, when you see Google, Amazon, Microsoft putting up all these billions and billions of dollars, I'm going to remain bullish on this AI trade. And I think that's great exposure to a lot of, especially cloud, right? AWS, we have Azure, and then we have Google Cloud as well, too.
Yep.
I'm remaining bullish on this sector.
This is an interesting look here, Deere. I mean, like $9 billion is not huge for Google, you feel, but I like where they're going with it, right? Nice to see that they're partnering up with a couple of universities, get that kind of pipeline of talent going, number one. Number two, they're also investing in the energy side, which we know is super important.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Really quickly, before I get into my thoughts on this, keep an eye on NEGG or Newegg. Martin Shkreli basically kind of calling this one a short. So just keep an eye here on NEGG. The stock does not really seem to care. It did move down a bit, and now it's already recovering back to $130. I want to talk here about this Google stuff, though. For me, I actually think it's a really smart play because it does play into Trump's whole push on investing in America. That is the first thing I thought when I saw the story. I think it is very smart. I think, you want to call Trump on his cell phone. I think the best way to make a hot bling reference there, best way to do that, to get his attention. We know Sundar was already at the inauguration, right? He's trying to grease the wheel a bit. I think this $9 billion investment in the U.S. is a solid look. I believe Amazon already kind of did something similar. The other angle to this that I want to talk about is how it looks for these beautiful energy or utilities plays that are a bit larger, like CEG and VST.
Exactly.
Neither of them are doing that hot right now, but both of them actually ran a bit off the open. Now, not always a lot of volume in those, so keep that in mind. They're both pretty spready, but I'm looking at it from the nuclear perspective and also the how to get Trump's attention in a positive way perspective. And I think both angles are interesting. Yeah, and especially you're playing on the nuclear play. You're not saying solar or wind, which we know he absolutely loves, right, Adair? He really is a proponent of solar and wind. One man rants about windmills. I know. He keeps telling Europe that they're ruining their country with all these windmills. I love it. It's like, Donald, you don't even live there, bro. Let them do what they want. Just leave them the hell alone. So, yeah, thank you, Adair, for chiming in on that. Let's go on to the next story. Cisco beating Q4 earnings, then they guide above. Where is CSCO at right now? Let's just double check. Is it still up on the day? It is not. It's down 1 1/3. So, hey, maybe a good time to buy. Not financial advice. Let's go through the earnings. EPS, earnings per share for our newer viewers. That came in at 99 pennies. Consensus estimate amongst analysts was 98. Check. Revenue, Joey, $14.67 billion. What was the street looking for? 14.62. Check. Beat top line, beat bottom line. How about that take home money? What's our profitability? Shy of $3 billion. We're talking about the quarter, $2.82 billion in net profit, beating expectations and also increasing year over year. Last year, they took home 2.16. So not exactly $1 billion more, but definitely a good look. Now let's talk about the different segments that they have. Their networking revenue, Joey, 12% year over year increase up to $7.63 billion, beating estimates. Wow. However, their security revenue, which has been growing, grew 9%, a little bit below estimates, $1.95 billion, so they missed a bit there. How about the guide? What are they saying they're going to do in the future? Well, for the first quarter of 2026, they're guiding 97 to 99 pennies in profitability on revenue of 14.65 to 14.85 billion, above consensus estimates, with the full year 2026, Joseph, guiding $4 to $4.06 on revenue of 59 to $60 billion. The full year guide is in line with expectations, neither below nor higher. This chief financial officer of the company noted ongoing macro complexity despite the tariff clarity. Now, for the company, they're saying that things are still not hunky-dory.
out in Cisco world there. AI infrastructure momentum, they're spending money, baby. They've got, they're spending money and they've got orders. They got full year AI infrastructure orders to the tune of $2 billion plus, more than double the company goal. So their internal metrics being easily done there. And about $1 billion of that full year 2025 orders is tied to back-end GPU networking. Last but not least here, Joseph, they are making the right connections with the right companies. They're collabing with BlackRock, Microsoft, OpenAI, SoftBank, need I go on. They also joined Stargate Middle East, which you've been a very big proponent of. Yeah. I know you were all about that Arab money getting spent on a lot of these GPUs, so good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know too much about Cisco, but wasn't it the most valuable stock at one point during the bubble, right?
Yes, the communications.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of the most valuable stocks, and then sure enough, what happened to it. But anyways, guys, up 39% off of those April lows. This is the gauge that we're going to continuously use because that's Liberation Day, all right? So 39.3% off of those lows. And then now we're starting to pull back a little bit, but nothing to be worried about. But you can see throughout that whole report, it's AI, cloud, infrastructure, building more, GPUs, all this. Who's going to benefit from that? NVDA, I think there's going to be, and that's why this stock is continuously climbing higher and higher. And this is what I talk about. As long as that CapEx on AI spend remains heavy, you got to be bullish on this trade. And I think we're going to see that for quite some time here, Shu.
All right, Adara, hold on. I got something for you over here. Which one are you more a fan of? Which Cisco? Are you a fan of this Cisco or this Cisco?
I'm going to have to go. Am I alive? Okay, I'm going to have to go with the image on 100%. Because honestly, I was already like gearing up for a Cisco pun. I was going to say, initially on earnings, the stock dumped like a truck. Though it did recover pretty quickly afterwards. So there we go. Thank you, Sherry, for setting that up. Of course. You knew I was immediately going to go for that. I have a cute little infographic I made here in X at TTV Research, and it shows, this company's had really solid revenue growth, even after, as Joe mentioned, that it was at one point the most valuable company in the world. Became that on in March of 2000. As you can see, after that, revenue did take a little bit of a hit, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. But then 2005, we come right back up and we recover. I want to mention as well here, last year, the revenue did take a bit of a dip. Like, look at 2023 versus 2024. That's the same year, right, that they announced a 5% global workforce reduction and they cut their annual revenue guidance for the year. So let's see, like 2025 so far doesn't seem like it's shaping up so bad. Their guidance for the year would actually, they're guiding around 59 billion to 60 billion. So that would put them above 2023 revenue if you look at this infographic, right? So I actually think that's not a bad look at all for the company. Sometimes these earnings reactions, even if they dump like a truck, do not always reflect, the fundamentals of the company or what potential it has.
There we go. Thank you very much for there. Adara. Da-dong, da-dong, dong, dong. You had to, look. I love when the beat go.
Sing it. Keep going.
I love when the beat go.
I don't know. I don't know that song.
You don't know this song?
No.
Scandalous.
Adara, you're younger than him.
Yeah, well, honestly, I will say part of how I was introduced to it was just a really nightmarish cover of it on Glee that I cannot unsee. Where Matthew Morrison sings it to a woman who's getting married. It's just so stupid, but that's how I discovered. Makes
sense. If you're not singing it to a woman who's getting married, at what context should it be sang, Adara?
He's not marrying, which is why it's weird. But anyway, shout out to the Thong Song. Look up that cover if you want to ruin your life.
All right.
Cisco.
If I heard it, maybe I would know, but I truly don't know.
It's called Thong Song, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard that.
By Cisco.
I've honestly never heard that.
All right, it's a good way. It's old as hell. I think you were probably like 7 when it came out.
Yeah, I was listening to Swollen Members.
Adara wasn't born when it came out. She was born the next year.
And the Eminem show.
All right, let's go. Let's keep going here. Coherent. They beat, but they had a weak outlook. So let's talk about what they did over here. So they printed EPS of $1 versus the 92 expected, and they also increased year over year. Last year on the quarter, they printed 61 pennies. So an easy bottom line beat there. They're profitable. On revenue of $1.53 billion, the street was looking for 1.51. So check. Top line beat, bottom line beat. Everything's gravy. Their networking segment revenue surged 39% year over year, also beating estimates, and their materials and lasers It didn't do as well. They fell about 8% year over year. Now, their guide, that was the problem. Their Q1 revenue guidance came in below projections, sending the shares, at least initially, down 17% after hours. And revenue miss, though, was largely tied to $20 million per quarter loss from selling its defense laser business. So it might be a one-off item here that kept this one down in terms of guidance. We'll have to see how they guide in the next quarter. And they sold that defense laser business for around $400 million to reduce their debt to about $3.7 billion. So clearly carrying some debt here that was on the minds of the company's management, and they had to take off this laser business here for $400 million. They are in partnership with Nvidia, so they have Coherent is a supplier of Nvidia's new optical networking switches, which got announced back in March. Optical networking, in case you're just wondering why I'm talking about this, it's about 3.5 times more efficient than the standard setups, which addresses some of the power consumption issues we've been talking about. AI. We just finished talking about, Google spending on energy build-out. Well, there are energy build-outs there because these data centers are super hungry. So this does actually add an element of savings there. And the potential to capture a significant share, Joseph, of future AI data center networking spend if the technology that they have is adaptable and scalable. And how do you like that chart?
Yeah, more
Show them
AI,
the chart,
more
baby.
AI spend. More AI spend. That's what you're going to see across the board here. All right, 174% off of those April lows, guys. That is big time move. But Sharif,
yes, sir.
As you say, we take the stairs up and then we take the window out sometimes. That's how it be sometimes.
Ugly, Joe.
That is a big time move to the downside, brother. That is a 30% drop right there. So you get a high of around 123.16, and then you have a low of around 86.65. And that is a 30% haircut, just like that.
Well, do you like that technical level there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you can get a potential bounce right here. Sharif's pointing at is this consolidation phase right here that can act as a potential support level. And if it's breached to the downside, watch out. Where is that next level of support? You're probably at the 62s, but again, you got to get there first. I will be honest, I do like this indecision print right here, right? So as long as that closes, we have the volume backing it, can signal, hey, stopping volume. That's going to say we're not going to push price any lower, but if it does go, just look for more indecision south of that, and then maybe one day, eventually, you'll get this gap fill on this one.
Deere, you put this on the watch list today. What is your view on Coherent generally and on the report?
Yeah, I mean, I will say complete disclosure. I did trade this today. I took a short in it, and shout out to Joe. Joe's talked about this with thank you with Danielle Shea. Right, she said if the expected move is larger, then often it'll continue to move in that direction. The expected move for Coherent was like 10%. It was down like 20%.
Ew.
It was kind of that's why I was interested in that. But regardless of that, and again, maybe we'll discuss this in the market recap. I think with regards to the report itself, I think, thank you for the little money drop there. I think with regards to the $400 million sale, I always find it interesting, and I said this to Neil in the recap as well, because we got that about 5-10 minutes before the report.
Really?
I find it interesting when these companies release these little tidbits of news before the earnings. Are you trying to cushion the blow? Are you trying to impact how it moves? I'm always very curious about that, because I found that's happened a couple times now, where either there'll be some interesting report about a company the day of their earnings, or they'll release some news the day of their earnings, and usually it's market moving, regardless of my guesses there. I think the fact that Coherent timed the $400 million laser business, the debt reduction is significant, the debt itself is significant.
It is, man.
See more of and how many more sides of your business are you going to have to sell to reduce that debt? Because that is nasty debt, and that $400 million sale really only takes a tiny little dent out of it. No,
and Adara, $3.7 billion of debt. That's like 2 quarters worth of revenue more, because they're printing $1.53 billion in revenue in the quarter. So it's like almost a quarter and a half, 2.5 quarters of just revenue there that you've got in debt. So I completely agree with you. $3.7 billion, nothing to sneeze at. Freaking lasers.
Lasers, yeah.
Let's go. You
down 22%, Adair, to your point a little bit on the session. We mentioned before it was down 30% at the lows.
James Franco, am I right? Conquered. I like you, bro. All right. We're going to go on to the next one over here, Foxconn. This is a very interesting report. Not because it's an Apple supplier, Joseph. In fact, Foxconn used to really be known as, that company that makes stuff for Apple. That's changing, and you're going to see why in a second. Let's get to it. So these are new Taiwanese dollars, guys. Obviously, Foxconn, well, it's both Chinese and Taiwanese company, but they're reporting revenue in new Taiwanese dollars, so that NT stands for new Taiwanese dollars. They printed about 1.79 trillion new Taiwanese dollars. What was expected was exactly that, 1.79 trillion. So an easy, an inline revenue print there. Operating profit, about 56 billion new Taiwanese dollars, well ahead of the 49.77 expected, and a 27% year-over-year bump in operating profit. Their net profit, they took home about 44.33 billion new Taiwanese dollars, well ahead of the 38.81 expected by the street. So there's results aligned with the top line estimates, but exceeded profit forecasts, really driven by AI-driven growth. And here's the deal. This is why I say this company may not be that Apple supplier anymore. AI server sales made up 41% of their Q2 revenue, while for the first time, their consumer electronics, which is a euphemism for their Apple products, or Apple input products, made up 35%. So their AI server sales exceeding now their consumer electronics segment. That's big, 35% versus 41%. They manufacture AI server racks with Nvidia as a key client. The company projects, guys, 170% year-over-year growth in AI server revenue. So that 41 print that we got there for AI servers could be markedly higher next year relative to their consumer electronics. Does that move the needle in a good way or in a bad way? I'm going to say it's in a good way, because we see what the gross margins are on some of these AI servers. It's ridiculous. And NVIDIA's printing 70-some-odd% gross margins on a physical product. That's crazy time. I don't think it lasts that way forever and ever more, but this is a good number to have here, especially for your future outlook. Let's talk about that future outlook. Their Q3 revenue is expected to rise further despite the geopolitical risks, and they recently took a stake in Teco Electric Machinery to kind of expand their AI data center infrastructure. So a good look. But let's talk about the gorilla in the room, which is tariffs, right? Taiwan being threatened by Donald for higher tariffs. The semiconductor imports also being threatened by Donald for 100% imports with a few exceptions. So U.S. tariffs from President Donald Trump obviously pose a threat to supply chains. Taiwan currently faces, Joey, about a 20% temporary tariff with negotiations ongoing. And as I mentioned, your boy Donald threatening 100% tariff on semiconductor imports, excluding, though, U.S.-built products.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what I was talking about before, remember when the plant shut down? I believe it was in 2022 for 6 days with regard to Apple. Yeah, Apple, everybody was panicking. And then recently in 2024, there's a bunch of employees that were arrested for antitrust reasons, which is very, very interesting. And then obviously being based in China, there was a little bit of labor issues, I guess labor rights issues with Foxconn. So yeah, personally, I don't know otherwise too much about the company, but as for Apple, not too bad, right? Everything is back and running.
I like it. Adira, what do you make of this AI server number for the first time exceeding their consumer electronics, and what they're projecting, Adira, 170% year-over-year growth on that AI server number?
Well, I think it shows really like this transition, right? The world loves AI. Clearly, this AI demand is exceeding now the demand for phones. Now, what does that mean for Apple, right? That probably very likely means that, you know, like maybe these it's kind of not necessarily falling out of favor, but maybe less favored than what we're seeing with AI in terms of, I guess, just the trends, just the production. So I think let's see if that continues. Let's see if hopefully, like, you know, this AI boom is not just a fad. It's not like the .com bubble, and I'm not saying that it is, but I given just, you know, the mass increases and the trends that we're seeing with regards to, you know, even the IPOs, the things are happening, that 171% number is crazy. So hopefully that you know, I guess demand is sustained. I also do think that tariff risk is certainly an issue. And we know Apple, at the very least, has tried to mitigate some of this by switching some of their production to India. But I mean, I don't really know the servers. I'm not sure how that correlates, right? So we're going to have to wait and find out what happens there. I think it's certainly striking, and I think it might say a little bit more about how Apple's lagging than it does about how Nvidia's advancing, in my opinion.
Okay, let's take a different angle to this. If we can bring in Joseph as well as Assassino so that we can talk about this as a three. So we know that Donald's threatening 100% tariffs on U.S. imported semiconductors. So one has to make you the assumption that Foxconn will be wise to that, and they'll want to open up locally in the United States, which they're already doing. Here's the issue. The kind of work culture in Taiwan is fundamentally different than what we expect here in North America. You and I were talking about this, I believe, when we were talking about Taiwan Semi, where they'll wake your ass up 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, get your ass into work, is hitting the fan. We need someone to, fix this. That's not I get people are on call here, but that's not the standard. That's the standard in Taiwan. Do you think they have a problem with culture as well as technical expertise to bring everybody in to be able to produce the same thing in North America that they're doing in Taiwan? I'm putting that to both of you.
Take it, Deere. I'll add after that.
Okay, yeah, no, I think my thing is I don't really think you can transfer the work culture, right? I think it'd be very difficult. So with that in mind, the question becomes, can you get the same results with the American work culture? That's what I have to say to that. I think it'll be a wait-and-see type game because I think transferring the work culture exactly is going to be a nightmare, and then you're just going to get people who are unsure and unconfident with what they're not confident with what they're doing because they're not used to performing and behaving in that way. So that's my take on that. I think it'll be really interesting to see if what TSM, or in this case Foxconn, is what they do successful because of what they do, or is successful because of how they do it.
There you go. Joey, thoughts?
So as I mentioned it before, obviously within Taiwan, labor rights, right? We have a lot more of them here in the United States. Can you be as productive, as efficient as you were in Taiwan? I don't know, but obviously the rules change, especially when you go from Taiwan to here. There's a lot more rights for the workers, and they will revolt if they have to, I think. They don't necessarily have that choice in Taiwan.
I got to completely agree with that. I think it's a risk. It's a risk. All right, let's go on to the next story, guys. Amazon expanding. Should we do this one or should we do another one?
I like Donnie.
Yeah? All right, let's do Amazon. So they're expanding same-day fresh food delivery nationwide. This is not bad at all, especially since it's going to be fresh. So fresh and so clean. Dun, 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 dun. Amazon extending fresh food same-day delivery to about 1,000 U.S. cities. Why did they have to include Raleigh, North Carolina, Tampa, Florida, and Milwaukee? Kind of a random bunch to select there. But anyway, those cities will be included in the 1,000. They plan to hit 2,300 locations by the end of the year following successful tests out in Phoenix and other cities. Prime members will have free orders on delivery, on orders over $25. You'll have to pay about a $3 fee if you order anything under that $25 minimum. Non-Prime shoppers, you're gonna have a $13, $12.99 flat fee, no order minimum. The data though does show that Prime customers using the fresh delivery shop you actually order twice as often as those who don't purchase fresh food. So there does seem to be demand, Joey, for this type of product. I gotta tell you, anytime that they expand product delivery and product assortment, I think that's just a win for the consumer. I don't see how the consumer loses out here. You know what I mean?
Exactly, Sharif. But as I was reading through this, I was curious as to why this name wasn't on the list.
Let's hear it.
Uber. Why wasn't Uber put on there? So with the same.
What do you mean, though?
Well, think about it. So we're talking about Kroger, Instacart,
competitors. Got you.
Competitors, right?
Yep.
So now that Amazon is getting into this same-day delivery, how much market share can they take from Uber when we've seen their numbers, right? So delivery gross bookings up 20% year over year within the Uber Eats sector, that is, and then revenue growth also 23%, and 30% of new users acquired via Uber's mobility app. So essentially what I'm thinking is, how much market share does Amazon have the ability to take from someone who's already kind of dominating the space, and that's Uber, and I'm surprised that I didn't see that on there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying that for, but it's mostly prepared food, Joey, that Uber Eats is sending you. No,
you go to the grocery store. What do you mean? You can do the grocery.
I didn't even know that.
You do all the shopping on Farm Boy, Metro.
And they send it through Uber, eh?
Yeah, they send it through
Uber
Eats.
I use Instacart.
That's what I was curious. But yeah, we can go on the Uber Eats right now. We can order something from Farm Boy if we would like to.
Fantastic. I didn't even know that, dude. I just use the for food.
Yeah, so I was curious to see why that wasn't from
Costco too,
From Costco
Assassino
too. Well,
saying,
remember
right?
Ramin brought us. There's a way to get across to kind of loophole with the Costco membership.
Right.
You just order it off of Uber
Right.
Eats, right? At
Right.
the end of the day.
That's
so I
the
was
move.
curious to see why that wasn't placed in there as well too.
All right, James Dell, I see you there in the chat. Brother, I don't want you to get the wrong idea that we're disparaging Americans. Not at all, brother, not at all. Just basically saying that what some of these tech companies have said in the past when they try to move these really high-end manufacturing jobs to the U.S., they really do have a problem hiring. The technical expertise is not there. Not to say that Americans are incapable. That would be stupid and incorrect to say that. Obviously, very capable people. That's not the point. The point is they don't exist there. They have to be trained by people who come overseas. That's obviously a long learning curve. So what they end up doing is they bring their own people over. And what the hell is the point of that, right? We're building in the U.S. so we can employ Americans, not to employ foreign people and then have them built in the U.S. So that's kind of what I meant. I see your point, James. I didn't want you to kind of get that idea at all. That's not what we're trying to say at all. That's not what I meant. Anyway, Adara. Amazon, interesting look here, 1,000 cities. That's nothing to sneeze at with 2,300 more possibly coming in the future. Does this move the needle for you?
I think the best thing is, the best aspect of this is the fact they already did the tests in, like, I believe it was Phoenix, so they've tried this out, right? They know consumers want this. Now, of course, every city has different demographics. I'm sure with like over 1,000, cities, we're gonna have cities that function slightly differently, right? So who knows if it's going to necessarily be received the same way in every region. That being said, I think the fact that they had a successful test run, that always, I think, moves the needle for me. I think that's exciting. And yeah, I think the fact that Uber didn't react to it is interesting, but
yeah.
I do want to comment on that briefly. I know that's not the point of the story. I think right now, Uber is moving a lot more on anything autonomous driving related than it's going to be with delivery related, because I don't think people necessarily associate Uber with delivery with the same way they do with like DoorDash, Instacart. DoorDash, for example, has done something really smart. I think Uber gets kind of piggybacked on this too, but DoorDash has their own little grocery stores called dashboards, right? Where you can just like tack onto your order, the order of groceries, or you can just order groceries. So I think it's a much bigger hit for Instacart or DoorDash/Dashmart than it would be for Uber. Anyway, that's my take on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think honestly, love to see how successful it is. I think the stock clearly loves the story, and I think the way that the competitors are reacting shows that this could really be a threat for some people that are already in that space. Also, guys, a Trump date, if you will, a Trump update. He's not here yet. All I hear is very, very extra static. I've heard static for about 20 minutes, and I have not seen anything. Fact sheet.
Thank you.
Just one more point. So just to touch on the Uber thing one more time. Just what I'm looking at here is just the gross bookings up 20% year over year in the Uber Eats sector. I'm just curious to see how much market share Amazon same-day delivery can take from Uber Eats. Because if you're going to get in the grocery business, I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to be able to start buying fast food restaurants on this app as well too. So yeah, essentially was what we got going. Let's see, we got a $10 super chat. We can tell where you lean politically, Sheep brother. You're okay. Anyways, logical, reason, smart. Brother, you're bait. Okay, so it's a compliment.
Bro, yeah, man.
Yeah,
like I gotta make myself very clear. My sister's American. I love America. I'm in America every dang year, so I got no issue. Zero.
I'll be in America at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Like literally, I will literally be there. I think whatever it is, but here on the show, we trade the American markets. We love our friends south of the border here. There's no questioning that. Please don't ever question or debate that we don't love you guys. We just cover this stuff because we love to do so.
Yes,
and have the ability to do so.
I appreciate that, Kelvings, man. All right, let's go on to the next story here. Joey, Tesla, Norway sales surge despite EU weakness. Let's talk about it. Norway is like this little island in Europe that, it doesn't really, the rules don't apply to it for whatever reason. So they reported a 24% year-over-year pop in Norway during the first half of this year, first half of 2025, selling about 13,039 units. That's what was registered with the department there of motor vehicles in Norway. Last year, they sold a little bit less than 10,500, so a healthy growth there. Norway's population is quite small, about 5.5 million people, despite the fact that their EV adoption rate, some of the highest in the world. I know China is also a high EV adopter. The country was the first, Norway that is, the first country outside North America where Tesla actually built supercharging stations. That's how much of an EV adopting country they are. So don't look at Norway as, you know, sort of a bellwether for Europe. And here's why. Tesla's facing double-digit declines all over the continent, including Sweden, France, Denmark. So if you thought it was these Scandinavian countries, you'd probably be wrong, because Sweden, I believe Denmark as well, is considered Scandinavia. UK, the United Kingdom, sales dropped insanely much, Joey, for 1 year. A 60% drop year over year in United Kingdom sales, selling less than 1,000 cars. What the hell in July? 987 units sold, while your friend there, BYD, saw jaw-dropping sales year over year in Greater Europe. Let's just call it like that.
Yeah.
So BYD eating up that market share.
Absolutely, but and let's honestly be serious, Sharif. Norway isn't going to move the needle for Tesla, in my opinion.
No, bro, they're not. They're 5.5 million people.
There's no chance. It's great that the sales are increasing over there, but at the end of the day, it's just a needle in a haystack, essentially, for me personally. Deere, I heard you grasp over there, but at the end of the day, Norway is not moving any needle for Tesla. It's autonomy, autonomy, autonomy. That's what we need to get out, this full rollout. He needs to get into more cities, get that FSD rollout, apply for those permits, and see what we can do, and just get the robo-tax, get the Model 2. Never mind what Norway. We're obviously covering the news, but Norway is not going to change fundamentally what Tesla's got going.
No, I never really wanted to think that it was fun. But what I was going to say to you is, do you think maybe it's kind of like that canary in the coal mine kind of thing? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
It's like everywhere around it, like you mentioned, Shreve, in EU, sales dropping left, right, and center. And then you have this little country of 5 million people where the sales are accelerating. Again, it's great stuff. But for Elon, he needs drastically more than that.
All right, Adair, what's your look over here? I mean, you're obviously very attuned with Tesla. You're constantly reporting on it. Is this anything that we need to kind of really stand up and take notice of?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's significant. I think the fact that Norway is routinely not only just outperforming Europe, but just like significantly having this growth, I think it says something. A lot of people are attributing to the Model Y. I was also reading that Reuters article about how, like, I guess Norwegian Tesla buyers don't have the Tesla shame that a lot of other places, you know, Europe has not been very pro-Tesla. So I guess Norway is for some reason immune to Tesla's shame, even though Sweden, its buddy, is feeling that. So I don't know. I think if we have a better understanding of why Norwegians are you know, scooping up Teslas like hotcakes, I think that would really help us understand this. We don't understand the phenomena, so it's a little hard to comment on it. But Norway is cool. I understand a little bit of Norwegian.
No, you don't. Do you actually?
I'm telling you, I watched a Norwegian teen drama when I was 18.
You did tell me about this. What am I saying?
I have a decent understanding. No, can I speak it? Not at all. But I have an okay-ish understanding of it. Also, I think Trump just started speaking.
Okay.
I hear things, so I'll just keep
all right.
posted on that.
Yep. Interrupt anytime there's breaking news.
Well, we had two super chats from B Joe 9000. Remember this morning, Norwegian Cronin, is it? I believe the currency was. Yeah, NOK, right? And I was going to say, hey, do you own a Tesla? Considering that sales are up. But anyways, let us know, why do you guys like Tesla so much?
What is it about that? Tag Joseph or I'd like to really actually understand that a bit more.
I know what it is, so yeah.
All right. There's a company in in China, Joseph. I think you may have heard of it. It's called Li Auto.
Ooh.
And I was invested in this company for a little bit, and it didn't end up being like the monster that I wanted it to be, but it was okay. So anyway, Li Auto catching a downgrade today from our very good friends Jamie Dimon, of course, I know, and company at JP Morgan. They downgraded Li Auto from overweight to neutral, and they did cut the price target from 33 to 28. Here's why. They're saying that 2025, 2026 volume and earnings estimates was revised down now 10 to 20% due to tougher competition in the battery electric vehicle, BEV segment. JP Morgan expects more conservative delivery volumes in the second half of this year, aka possibly look for more downward revisions for deliveries from Li Auto. The previous bullish call that they made in February of this year was based on a successful BEV reentry post that MPV car that they have. Li Auto has this car called the MPV. It's an ugly looking monster van, but they like that kind of stuff in China. I don't know why, but it's very popular. It's called the Mega. It was kind of a failure in the second quarter launch of last year, but competition still has intensified. And they're also even facing more competition from their own competitors in China. NIO's Onvo L90 SUV is drawing significant customer traffic and orders. You also have a delayed six-seater SUV by Li Auto called the L8. That was supposed to come out later this year. And there's a September launch of the i6, which is a 5-seater SUV entering a crowded kind of mid-range battery electric vehicle SUV segment. So Li Auto, in case you don't know, before I throw it to Joey, their bread and butter was to have not hybrid vehicles, but they would have an onboard battery as well as an internal combustion engine. The internal combustion engine doesn't actually power the car on Li Auto cars. What it does is it just recharges the battery. So when you're driving the car, you still have that full electric feel with the torque and whatever. So again, the gas engine doesn't power the car, but it does give it crazy range. So you can get like about 1,500 kilometers or something like that, 1,350 kilometers worth of range on these cars. That was their selling point. And in a country, Joseph, where they didn't have a whole bunch of superchargers everywhere, or they did, but the demand on them was crazy. These kind of cars made sense. This kind of like stopgap between regular cars and electric.
Yeah. Fair enough. I see that you're saying so swift price cuts on that SUV that you mentioned. What's that going to do for margins? Curious about that as well too. As for the stock, look at it from a technical standpoint. Sharifa, I remember you were talking to me about this, and you were curious, like, hey, Joe, how can I play some covered calls or something along those lines with this name? For me personally, it's at the top, when you got to get to the top of the range in this. But in order to do so, you got to climb back there. I don't know. Please, yes, thank you for not embarrassing me. So yeah, there it is. So we'll go off of this peak at $47 to see how much we're down. I can do the math. We're about 50%. I don't know. I just think the EV space is starting to get a little bit more crowded, especially with BYD just taking absolute market share on every corner of the globe, with the exception of North America, obviously. They're in Brazil, they're in Europe, they're taking share from Tesla over there as well, too. I think they're in trouble a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it does feel like that a little bit, especially, not really expanding their pure EV plays, right? They're still in that hybrid.
Going back to that hybrid method.
Dara, you've heard me complain many a time about Li Auto. Any take here on the downgrade by JP?
Yeah, I just want to say here with LI, I know you and Li Auto have had quite the relationship over the years. Yeah, I think there's clearly a lot of competitors in the space. I know that NIO Onvo or ONVO has been really hot. I've heard like a lot of discussion about that vehicle, and BYD is just consistently successful, so it makes sense there would be some concerns about competitors in the space for Li Auto. But it's interesting too, like the price target decrease isn't even significant, 33 to 28. I think it's more the rating difference from that neutral to overweight, or overweight to neutral story that I think is more likely to make a difference. But yeah, I mean, Li Auto, the stock got beat up here. The other element of this I want to mention, Sharif and Joe and everyone watching, is the fact that we actually had Bridgewater as well, an investment firm. They unloaded a whole bunch of Chinese ADRs today. You can get the whole list in terms of ones that are publicly traded in the US in our Trader TV Live watch list. But so I think with that in mind, there was already kind of a headwind for these Chinese ADRs anyway. And the fact that Li Auto caught this downgrade does not help.
Bridgewater there. I didn't even know about that. All right, Adara, we're going to go next to Tapestry with a Q4 earnings beat, but Kate Spade, one of their divisions, weighs on their outlook. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know. Really?
Sure,
I didn't know that. Wow. My mom likes Kate Spade. She's got a bunch of Kate Spade bags.
You can get it at Costco now and stuff.
And Winners.
And Winners.
Don't get me started about Winners, bro. So let's talk about their results. Q4 revenue did rise 8% year over year, up to $1.72 billion. That easily beat the Wall Street estimate of $1.68 billion. Coach brands, one of their segments there, did rise substantially, 14% year over year. I'm a big Coach fan. I like a lot of their shoes. Kate Spade revenue, though, fell 13% year over year. Their profitability, or lack thereof, was decent. earnings per share, they took a buck 04 home per share, beating the estimates of 102. Unadjusted, oh God, was 249. I don't know why we have to be so loud. Coach performance was offset with weakness in Kate Spade as turnaround efforts continue. They did have to take an $800 million impairment charge tied to Kate Spade from lower current future cash flow expectations, and their tariff policy changes as well also weighed down on things. Tell them what you're thinking there, Joey.
All right, guys, new traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite, analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything infinite. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data. Global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description, folks. All right. So yeah, let's take a look at TPR here momentarily to see what we got going on. And I mean, I'm really, really surprised to see this, right? This is a stock. It's like, are you expecting it to kind of move the way that it is? I mean, I've personally never traded this from an intraday standpoint. I'm not sure if Deere or Sharif has. There's liquidity issues, but if you zoom out and you go and look at this from a daily, like Coach, okay, a luxury consumer brand, but then you have Kate Spade that you can buy around the clock. Essentially, you can go to Walmart and get it, Costco, Winners, as Sharif was mentioning as well too. So I'm really surprised at this name, and without even me using my percentage metric, we're up close to over 100% from those April lows. So that is absolutely phenomenal, and I was not expecting this from a retail brand, especially someone who's kind of, it's kind of one-dimensional, and I don't necessarily want to say it, but it's like the handbag, and then you got sheets and kind of toiletries with Kate Spade, I know you pillows, etc. But we've seen what happened to, I think it was Bed Bath & Beyond. We've seen what's going on with some of the other retail names and the likes of Nike, Under Armour as well too. Things are good, and to see Tapestry continuously climb like this, 94% from those April lows, that's insane. Take a look, we'll take a look at from the close over here. To see how much we were down from that peak to the trough here, 18.75% there. So yeah, I'm really surprised to see to see, especially this on a daily chart there with the TPR there. So yeah, I'm curious, Deere, what do you think?
Get it, Deere.
First, I do want to discuss the fact that Donald Trump is talking right now, and guys, he talked about windmills, which is pretty funny because we just joked about this. He said that there's hardly any inflation at all, except for the states where there are windmills. So that just happened. He also said that inflation is down to a perfect number. He has, as far as I can hear, he hasn't addressed the PPI yet. I haven't seen any mention of that either, but I will definitely let you guys know. He also said the stock market is soaring, as are 401ks. Now for Tapestry, correct me if you guys actually mentioned this. I don't believe I heard it or saw it in the notes, but it's a little bit hard to hear right now because we've got a lot going on, and I'm also listening to Trump. But with Tapestry, with that daily chart, Joe, I think one thing that's important to mention is that $48 breakout back in November of 2024. We had that beautiful little gap up after the company and Capri terminated their merger. Tapestry was going to acquire Capri, but then, of course, the FTC at the time, led by Lena Khan, blocked the merger. Now, given that we now have a much more M&A friendly market and administration, we very likely would have had that deal go through this year, but it might have actually been good for Tapestry that it didn't go through, because a lot of analysts were saying if Tapestry had acquired Capri, it just kind of would have dragged them down. So as you can see here, the stock certainly agrees, because once we get that gap up above that $48 resistance going back to March of 2024, we really don't come back there. We bounce beautifully, again, off the Liberation Day lows around that $60 level. So yeah, I think that, like, honestly, for Tapestry, regardless of the story with this earnings report, I think the larger term story certainly suggests the stock is doing well. I think, in a way, the FTC and Lena Khan not allowing their merger to go through with Capri maybe even helped this company a lot. So I think it's a good look, and I think the chart reflects that.
Actually, you don't really see too much of that, where actually, a company tries to merge or tries to acquire, and then, they It's blocked, but they actually grow out of it. So interesting look there, Dara. All right, let's go on to John Deere beating estimates but cutting the guidance and shares drop. So a lot of stuff's changing here at Deere, and we'll talk about it. It's not really company specific. It seems to be within the whole agricultural business. So they did report EPS of $4.75 on sales of $10.4 billion, topping the estimates of $4.58 per share and $10.3 billion. So an easy beat on the top and bottom line there. That was fantastic. Last year's Q3, though, saw much higher EPS than what we printed this year. $4.75 was what we printed. $6.29 was what they printed Q3 of 2024 on sales of $11.4 billion. Why, oh why, did sales drop $1.1 billion year over year on the quarter? Here's why. The drop was partly due to weaker pricing in agriculture and construction equipment. Deere's third straight quarter of price pressure in the construction business, not necessarily agriculture. They've been experiencing this in construction for a while. Agriculture, though, a new issue. I want to let you guys know ONMD is rocketing up. It's back above $1. ONMD. It's in that $1.12 area. I think it's clear at $1 decisively. Be careful with that one. Let's go on to what they're guiding, SSE. You know, they're guiding lower full-year guidance for net income down to $5 billion. They had guided back in May $5.15 billion, and also below the expectations of what Wall Street was looking for. They were looking for full year 2025 to be 7.1, and then what they printed in full year 2023 was 10. Net income also implied at $1 billion is slightly below the analyst expectations of $1.1 billion. The stock was down about 7% in the pre-market. Here's the agricultural pressure that we're talking about. So USDA actually projects 2025 net farm income to come in at $180 billion. That would be down from what they printed last year in 2024 when it was $182 billion. We don't have less people. I don't know if people are eating less because of Ozempic and Wegovy or whatever, but something's up with this number here. And they also printed $139 billion back in 2022. We all know why that was, though. Obviously, it was on the back end of the pandemic. Crop prices are significantly lower as well, which also hurts the farmers' margins. If it hurts the farmers' margins and their income, they're going to be able to buy less equipment, and that's exactly what's happening here. So reduced farmer income limits equipment purchases and impacting Deere's outlook. Tariffs are also having a bit of pressure here on Deere. Their May guidance, that is. Their May guidance, had factored in Trump's global tariff plans, which could raise import costs. Deere confirmed that tariff increased product costs in Q3, but they did not specify the amount, Joey. They also say that they have inventory demand issues. Maybe some of the reason, we're seeing some down year-over-year numbers.
Yeah, it's funny too, Shreve, because we know what's going on with this current administration. Donald Trump obviously pushing the agenda of America first and all this AI spend, and they're building all these data centers. Well, what do you need to use? How do you build these data centers? You got to use heavy equipment, and John Deere is American. So I'm really curious as to why you're expecting somewhat of a decline here, when in the likes of CAD, you see some acceleration as well too. But John Deere being American, I'm surprised that we're not going to see an uptick even with all this AI spending. That's how I'm exactly looking at it, to be honest.
All right, Adara, what's your look?
To John Deere, I say, oh dear. Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that we fell below this like $500, $490-ish support area, not a great look. This chart actually almost kind of looked like a bit of a bull flag here. You got that double bottom at the 405s, right? You push higher. So I don't know. I think technically it might be a little bit off. I do think, though, the fact that it's still at 45% year over year, the shares, I think that's actually a really, really solid look. But yeah, I mean, let's kind of see how they're going forward. This is not a field I admittedly know much about, but I think with regards to, I guess, the emphasis on, as Joe mentioned, this is an American company. We're emphasizing American first. We're emphasizing agriculture. John Deere certainly could recover, but yeah, I think, well, we'll kind of have to see what happens here. The fact that the CEO said they're managing their production, we're going to have to wait and see. I don't know. It's a hard one to talk about just because I feel like I don't know really enough about the sector to opine on it too much.
Dara, let's go on to the next story. DeepSeek delaying an AI model launch amid chip troubles. So this is a really interesting story. We always hear about, the Americans wanting to keep their most advanced chips away from the hands of the Chinese because of what they're going to do with it or what they could do with it. But we rarely hear, though, about the Chinese telling their own companies, don't use these American chips. And that's exactly what's happening here. So let's get into it. So DeepSeek's highly anticipated R2 AI model delayed from its original May launch due to what they're calling persistent technical issues with the Huawei Ascend chips for training, not inference, training. So the company actually switched strategy to use NVIDIA chips for training and then Ascend for inference to kind of get around that. The delay comes as DeepSeek trails a wave of competitor releases in China's AI sector. So here's what's happening. Beijing has actually began urging their own AI, national AI companies to adopt Huawei's Ascend AI chip line amid U.S. chip export restrictions. Obviously, persistent technical difficulties, show the challenges in replacing NVIDIA's dominant H20, and we all know that they have the H100, we know that, which is still more popular in China. The U.S. has blacklisted Huawei's Ascend chips, alleging restricted U.S. tech was used in their development. So they're basically saying you IP poached without saying it. So what's the difference between training and inference? Because I made the point here that they switched strategies from using the Ascend chip for training and rather for inference. So let's get to it. So training requires massive computing power to improve AI models using large data sets, while inference, for its part, running the trained model for output requires significantly less computing power, and DeepSeek is keeping the Ascend chips for inference roles, possibly to satisfy, that local policy push, while relying on the NVIDIA chips for really the heavy lifting for the H20. So I want to just add some stuff here before I throw it to you. So there's a clear push right now by the Chinese regulator. They contacted ByteDance, they contacted Alibaba, they contacted Baidu. We know the works, and they said, look, do not use the H20 or any of these American chips when it comes to sensitive issues or issues of national security. We think they're bugged, okay? NVIDIA vehemently denies that. They say we haven't bugged any of the H20 chips. It's all BS, it's bogus, speculation. And then we get a report yesterday that the Americans are putting tracking device, not on the chips, Joey, not built into the chips, so you can't blame NVIDIA for this, but they're throwing tracking devices into the servers, into the packaging, so they can see, are they going to Singapore or are they going to China?
Well, joke's on them. We know they were using the chips the whole time. No, at the end of the day, Sharif, this is the DeepSeek news right here back in January when that launched. And they came out there saying, okay, you have all these companies, again, we're going back to capital expenditure, spending ridiculous amounts of money on LLMs like ChatGPT, and then you have DeepSeek come out and say, yeah, we spent $20 million and we built an equivalent LLM using a fraction of the amount, and then that just sent the American stock market into absolutely chaos. Now, as someone mentioned in the chat, they believe that DeepSeek was all smoke and mirrors. Well, I think that's going to be the case here, because look at the recovery that we've experienced in NVDA, considering that that's not necessarily the case. We don't know if it's actually true that they only spent $20 or $30 million to construct DeepSeek, and I don't think it is, because NVDA recovered like an absolute
yeah, look at it, bro. Look at that buyout.
Yeah, exactly.
Since April.
Oh my God. DeepSeek, okay, a couple months later, and then sure enough, never mind, DeepSeek who at
Rocket
the end.
ship.
DeepSeek who at the end of the day.
Adara, obviously, you're well in tune with NVIDIA and everything that they're doing. Any comments here about, the H20, DeepSeek, Huawei, Ascend, et cetera?
Yeah, I apologize if you guys have already said any of this. It's a little bit hard to hear right now, but I will absolutely, I'm pressing the button here. But
hey, I can hear you finally.
I was hearing her the whole time. It was going in mine. So Adara, what happens, you can only get one of us at a time, right? So yeah.
I'm not aware of that.
Oh, that's what it is.
Well, that's awkward. I don't know what to do in that situation.
Leave it on mine, Adara.
I'll talk here. I think the thing is, we know Jensen Huang and others have said, hey guys, if we don't send our chips to you, to China, then China's just going to make their own stuff and get stronger, and I think that's what's going to end up happening. So I feel like that is it's a huge catch-22, but it doesn't really need to be. It can just be like, NVIDIA sending these, I guess, weakened chips. I think that it makes so much sense as a solution, especially when you consider the fact that otherwise they're going to be having to train these Chinese AI chips, get them even stronger. And that's exactly what we know the U.S. administration doesn't want. So now that they have their perfect
Exactly.
of their little 15% tariff, whatever you want to call it, on these AMD and NVIDIA sales, I actually think they have no reason to not allow the H20 sales to go forward, because it's actually going to hinder not only, I think, these U.S. companies, but also U.S. AI development, because Jensen always says China's right there. China's so close. And now they're even motivated to be better and be faster because their current chips aren't as good. So Huawei is just going to keep getting better. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bad look for the U.S.
I want to ask you a question. So if you want to bring in Joey as well, Assassino, so we can all talk together. So here's the deal, Deere. Americans are banning the Huawei Ascend chip from actually being sold in the United States because they're saying the Chinese stole some restricted American technology and included it there. Let's just go with that story for the sake of the argument, okay? I'm not vouching for it one way or another. Let's just go with it. So, is it going to be one of those cases where the Americans restrict the sale of their own chips to the Chinese get their hands on American chips, reverse engineer it, then sell it to everybody else at half the cost and eat into American market share? What do the Americans do there?
I don't know. I think America is just, I don't really know if they're thinking about that possibility, Sharif, to be quite honest. I think that would be, I would argue, worse than just selling them and making money, especially if you've got the situation where the U.S. government is making money too, because then you have American companies profiting and the U.S. government taking their little tariff, and everybody's happy. And no one's happy if you're stealing the chips or getting them illegitimately. And then if you attach the trackers, like apparently is trying to happen, then I think you make China even more mad. So why would you complicate things further? Just keep things simple, in my opinion, like the KISS, keep it simple, whatever. And then you just have a situation where you are selling the chips, everybody's getting their weird little tariff from the 15%, and everyone's happy.
I'm going to put this question to you as well. I really want to get your opinion on this.
Well, Sharif, essentially, you just went over this, right? They already had troubles with the training aspect on the Huawei chips. So now you have to use it for something else. So for me, that just says, hey, we're a little bit more reliant on American chips than what you expect us to be, right? So that's how I look at it. And then obviously, if they're going to copycat what Americans doing, it's not going to be the same quality at the end of the day. So for me, I propose to Donald Trump, open it up more. Go to more nations and say, hey, start buying our chips.
I agree with that. But I disagree with one thing. I've seen too much to count out the Chinese.
No, I'm not counting them out.
And I see what they're doing with electrical vehicles, and now they're leading the pack, not trailing. So, to me, you're absolutely right. Everything you said is right. But I'm going to qualify that and put comma for now exclamation point.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Absolutely. For now.
So let's see what we do.
But I mean, if we're going to look at it from a neck-to-neck race, essentially, is almost what it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to honestly, I have nothing wrong with any of the countries. I just think that America will have the ability to lead that race because of the innovation side, right?
They're doing it.
They're really good on the innovation front. And I think that's something.
I'm gonna have to go with that. I think the Americans lead for in the short to intermediate term. Let's see how it goes.
The Chinese are great at refining things and making them cheaper, but is it the exact same quality?
We'll have to wait and see.
We know with BYD, obviously, as the example, you can get the cheapest and you can get the best.
And there it is. And there it is.
Right?
That's what China's known for. They're not known for the best prices. You go other places now for the best prices. They don't have the best prices, but what they do have is a lot of the technical expertise. And that seems to be the selling point. Let's go on here. Deere, you're going to definitely like this one. Paramount Skydance merger sparks aggressive growth plans. Well, what are they doing? Let's talk about it. So following that $8.4 billion merger with Skydance Media, Paramount Global now wants or plans to, retain and redevelop core entertainment banners. We're talking about Nickelodeon. We're talking about MTV. We're even talking about BET. I didn't even know BET was part of their ownership there. President Jeff Shell emphasized redefining these networks to thrive in streaming as opposed to, linear cable, the old stuff, not treating them as declining cable assets. BET, once considered for sale, is now positioning itself as a key pillar in Paramount's streaming strategy. More moves come as rivals like, Warner Brothers, Comcast, they plan to separate or shed cable networks from their main businesses. We've seen Comcast do this, obviously spinning off Peacock away from their linear TV business. I think we're going to see a lot more of that as you want that streaming to be valued independently from the declining linear TV. At least that's how I see it. That's one part. Let's go on to the next part. Paramount Pictures, which is a separate division, plans to also boost annual movie production from 8 films, which they produced in 2024, and you and I were talking about AMC yesterday, to 15 in the near term, and aiming for 20 releases per year long term. Not bad. Strategy includes both franchise expansion, like Star Trek, Transformers, that's all franchises they own. And even their original content like High Side, starring Timothy Chalamet, that guy, I remember.
That's your guy, eh?
No, I remember they did something with him there. Ram made a video about Timothy Chalamet, and I said, why didn't you make one for Sydney Sweeney? Like, all of a sudden, she's good with your boy Timothy there, but you put Sydney on there, all of a sudden, it's not safe. NSFW. All right, yeah, okay, Ram. Wait till you get back from Chicago.
Yeah.
All right, let's
tell us about Timothy.
CEO David Ellison, which is Larry Ellison's son, by the way, of, what's it called, Oracle, sees emerging tech, especially AI, as transformative for filmmaking, especially, you know, with Pixar's early innovation. Paramount plans to use AI creative tool to enhance visual storytelling. And Joey, it doesn't hurt that they got that UFC contract either.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't hurt at all.
But the thing is, though, okay, so here it is. Wow, okay, Paramount Skydance.
Well, because it's, it's a new thing.
So for me, Sharif, I think, like, we got Disney Plus, right? Obviously with the ESPN, then we got Amazon Prime, we got Netflix, etc. I don't know who personally owns a Paramount Plus. I know it's an add-on into Amazon. You can go and you can pay a little bit more on your subscription for Amazon. But now these guys are starting to strike some big deals. You're going to see the UFC on there. Right? That's a big time for all the UFC and all the fight fans. And then now this Skydance merger as well, too. Maybe they can start to grab share from some of these other big-time players and start to climb the ranks. But for me, I'm going to put them at the lower end.
You're going to put them on the lower. Yeah, they got to earn your trust. They got to earn your respect.
But I think that's a fair way to put it, right?
I agree.
Because I don't think anybody here has parent. Well, I don't want to speak to them.
I don't.
Right? So there's Amazon, Netflix, and other things that you're going to go before you get into Paramount. But now that you have some of these big-time sport deals, that can definitely change.
And we've been talking about that with Netflix, especially picking up more sports.
It seems to be the motive right now. Who can get the biggest, who can get the best games, who can get those Christmas game deals, who can change things from pay-per-view to having big-time events on your platform. We're seeing that in the likes of, obviously, Netflix with the WWE coming in, and then you have big-time boxing fights as well too. And now we're going to start seeing a Paramount with the UFC, and that's just been growing absolutely substantially with TKO Holdings.
I like it. Adara, does this company turn over a kind of a new leaf, a new page, post Sherry Redstone?
I mean, I don't know. I think the whole, the Paramount, I'm trying to see if I can press these buttons at the same time. It does not work. It does not care. They do not care. I can't do this. But basically, with regards to Paramount, I will say that I have Paramount Global. I only have it, like their streaming app or whatever.
So you have it?
I only have it for CSI. I've said this a lot, that I find like the least user-friendly thing because it's really hard to like go back and forward.
You did mention this.
My priority would be like, hey guys, if you can fix that, because honestly, why don't we even have it? You can find everything online for free anymore. What's the point? CSI is not even that good. So I think if Paramount cannot fix that, then like honestly, I would probably have to say like, that should maybe be your priority here. But in terms of the content itself, I think prioritizing these franchises makes a lot of sense in terms of their original content.
Right.
That being said, they do have some shows, original content-wise, that they should, I think, continue to emphasize. Like, they got the Yellowstone, they've got the Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone.
Right,
My dad's
right.
like, obsessed
South
with
Park.
People really like that one, Adara.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they should focus on the original show content and their, like, you know, their franchise inherited IP film content.
Good
and
point.
not really work on original shows. Or not work on like these longer shows, or not work on original movies, because I think they know what works, and I think just focus on what works, keep churning out what works. Don't try like these new original things for the movies, and then I think let these really, really innovative creators work on show running. And honestly, I think that's how you have the best success, just from a creative perspective. Also, I did actually know that BET was part of Paramount, because I remember there was one guy specifically trying to bid on Paramount only because he wanted BET. Obviously, that did not go well.
Oh, I forget his name. What was his name again?
I don't remember the name, but I just remember he was going on and on about how he just wanted BET.
Yeah, I do remember that.
South Park as well too on Paramount. Paramount Plus now as well too. They bought the rights to South Park.
I didn't know that either.
Not likely.
Okay.
Making moves.
All right. We're going to look at open for Eric Vargas because he said, look, bro, you know, I've been here all day and you guys haven't said a word or two about open. So we're going to do it for you. We're going to do it live, even though it is 2 o'clock. We're going to have a look at OPEN. I see the big kahuna. Oh, the big kahuna's got a big iced coffee there, Katina, man. That's a big one there, Katina, man. It's free. Yeah, right. Well, Katina, man. It's like he's got a contact or two out there.
Nothing in this world, free 99.
Oh, free 99. Let's show everybody open. So this is a fantastic one here, brother. Eric Vargas, good call out by you. Open, it's up nicely on the day, 22% and change. I should have had this one on the side chart. Didn't make its way on today. There were a lot of others, but unlike the others on my side chart, Eric, this one is continuing to hold trend. Had a lot of support during the lower the lower volume part of the day at the 20 moving average. It pulled back into the 20 moving average right here at 145, found support again. So I'm liking this, man. I feel it may have some resistance at 3, and it's shown you its propensity to do that. Rejects 3 over here, rejects it again. But what's operative, Eric, is that we're still putting in higher lows. We could be destined to break that 3, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I would definitely let that confirm first. So even though the high of the day is 303, you can see it's had a hell of a time trying to close above that. In fact, it has not at any point in the day closed a candle on the 5-minute chart above that $3 area. That should be proof enough for you. Pick it up off the 20. That's what I say. But you are getting awfully close to $3, so make sure you are cognizant of where you're picking it up. But otherwise, it looks fantastic. Joey, leave him with a thought.
Yeah, guys, I won't be here tomorrow. It's going to be Sharif, and you guys are going to have a bunch of treats throughout. That one's going to be an exciting day. And as well as Tuesday, that's going to be with your boy. But I'm off to Chirac. We'll see what's going on over there. I'm really excited to see what you guys got going on. Wrigley Field, Soldier Field. I'm going to be doing the boat run. And guys, if I have to sign a check while I'm over there, I'm not going to be happy, and that's an automatic downgrade on the trip. All right.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
What do you think I was going to say?
Like America or something like that? I was like, oh,
I love America. I love America.
Like you're digging yourself a hole, Joey.
If I have to sign a check, I'm going to be very, very upset.
All right,
even though I'm bringing cash.
All right, we hope you have a sick time, brother, and be safe. Obviously, don't be crazy. Don't do anything I would.
No, at the end of the day, no, man. Going to have fun, visit some nice old friends.
See everybody tomorrow, guys. Same bat time, same bat channel. Big boys, they're that away.